Welcome to the show. All things Bulldogs. Here we go, here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Blue and white pride. Bulldogs for life. Dog father here. Gas by my side.
G'day, Doggies fans, all things Bulldogs. It's the live review for round 8 in our sad loss to the Broncos on the Anzac Day round on Friday. Needed a couple of days to get over that, but it was still a good event that was put on by Brisbane, and it was great to finally meet Gaz. How are you, mate? You survived after meeting your idol, Michael Jeffrey, the dog father. You're okay?
Yeah, mate.
Welcome to everyone.
Mate. All good, mate. All good. I had to turn the car around, mate. Turn the car around and drive as far as I could go, mate.
You're not used to being driven around too much.
No,
I could tell either. You're not used to being driven around too much, are you?
Thanks for picking us up, mate, and showing us a good time, mate. Unfortunately, the boys didn't honor their end of the deal.
No, they certainly didn't. Pretty sad, mate. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. We'll be pretty honest tonight. Honesty doesn't mean you have to drag people's names through the mud and stuff. Also, I don't know if I'm talking out of turn here, but I just found out that I'm not going to post this everywhere, but this is just for viewers. Our vice chairman and great man John Curry went into hospital on Friday, and he's awake in that now and recovering. He was awake on Saturday, so he obviously didn't get to see the game, I don't think, but just found out that today. So our thoughts and prayers with John, who's been a massive servant to the Bulldogs and the Bulldogs community for many, many years. And it sort of made my blood boil when I see videos on Saturday from some people talking about how this board and stuff just lets Gus Gould and that do whatever they want, like as if they've got no job description for governing the club, as if they don't love the club, as if they just, every time we lose, these people carry on like absolute fucktards. And honestly, I had to sever a couple of friendships on the weekend purely over what they they were saying. A lot of inaccurate stuff as well, and really speaking out of turn, in my opinion. And I just wonder who raises some of our men. One day there was a time, Gas, where look, and I've still got some blokes that I'm good mates with, and they come on, they say one or two words. They say that was a disgusting performance, or that was pathetic. And then they get on with their lives, you know what I mean? And they come back next week and they support. But one thing I'm proud of is at the game where we were sitting in the nosebleed section in the Bulldogs stand that they charged us $100 a ticket for, that the majority of fans there kept cheering and supporting for the Bulldogs for like 70 minutes at least, which is was really great to hear, considering that I felt the home crowd speaker just constantly the whole game was trying to bring the Broncos crowd into the game the whole game. I don't know if the Bulldogs speakers do that to the same level. Gas, is that? Tell me about that. I reckon that Broncos defense call and everything like that, and Broncos chants through the speakers probably went the whole match, like every few minutes. Does that happen at Bulldogs games these days?
Hey guys, not sure if it's Michael's internet or mine or what's going on. Is everybody hearing Michael okay? Or
yeah, everyone's here. I can hear you, Gas, perfectly.
Not sure. Not sure if it's me or you, mate. It just keeps cutting in and out. Yeah? Okay. I just lost you there for a bit.
Yep. So look, I could hear you perfectly, Gas. Can you hear me, mate?
The good announcer.
Yeah.
I can hear you now, mate. I lost you there for a bit. Had it spinning around.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm pretty sure everyone could hear me though.
Must be mine.
Which is good. That's all right. Gas has got new internet. Just needs to warm up. But look, guys, I was saying a lot there, Gas. Obviously didn't get to hear it, but I'm not sure if you heard it, Gas. But John Curry was in hospital Friday. So hope our thoughts and prayers are with him. He's recovering in hospital and going to get better, I'm pretty sure. It was something pretty serious, but hopefully he'll be okay. And I was just pointing out that I was very disappointed in how people are just attacking the board and the club and saying mistruths about the way our club's run. They just take what they hear on television and just make up their own fucking minds. And I'm so over it. We get attacked for not signing players, players that we were actually never linked to. We have a way in the way we go about it. And it's certainly something, that the club will continue to do. We've had a little bit of success. I felt getting Leo Thompson was a good signing, and I felt he improved big time on the weekend. And when we go through the stats, you'll see that there was a number of strong contributors as far as the effort and work rate that they got through. Again, we missed some poor moments in defence. 2 or 3 moments is what we miss. And then a lot of the other stuff is just out-competed on scramble and a lot of bullshit. So all things that I think can be turned around, and with a bit of luck, we can actually get some confidence back heading into future games. But no one's hiding behind the fact that we've had 2 poor losses and the team's got a lot of work to do to get out of it. No doubt. Let's say hello to everyone, Gas, before we get into our review. Old fella Dave was at the game. G'day, Ryan. Welcome to you. And Shoei got on early and said some stuff. I actually can't see it on screen.
I can read out to you what Shoei said if you want, mate. Not here to
Yep.
blast any players, but for the love of God, we need to drop players to lower grade so that all players are put on notice that no one is safe in first grade. This week, I would drop Montoya and Salmon. Serralda has to be firm and must part ways with his favourites. Favourites relationships are extremely dangerous and must not be part of our club. So that's a few things for us to talk about to start. Sayed says he agrees with Shoei. Some players really need to be dropped. Love Montoya, but he's been out of form, and Cherry was dropped for less.
Well, you don't know if he was dropped for less, Sayed.
Yeah, okay. It was a different reason altogether for why Cherry was dropped. Cherry wasn't so much dropped completely for form. It was more about the way he reacted to being put on the other side of the field. That was bottom line why he was dropped. And the Bulldogs love this sort of everyone team first mentality. When Cherry exhibited something that wasn't it didn't go down too well with the team and Serraldo, so they made a decision to give him a rest. And like they said, they would have done it before Vegas, but they felt that it would have been too disruptive. So it happened a week later. Or, obviously we had 19 days.
And Tony, just to answer your comments succinctly, I've got no problem with the opinion that we might be a better side, in your opinion, with Montoya out of the side and Salmon, or they're the two players you've identified, and potentially that might send a good message to them and to the team and whatever else. I understand all that sort of stuff. That's a pretty highly accepted way of looking at rugby league over many, many years, drop some players to reserve grade and what. But what I will say is that we need to be careful about how we describe these things. Salmon and Montoya aren't Serraldo's favourites. Who decides that? People, ever since Salmon's been in the team, I've seen those comments like, obviously he's got photographs of the coach behind closed doors or something like that, or he's, a bit of banter, a bit of fun with that sort of thing. And I just think we just need to understand that there's a whole coaching team. Now, one thing I can tell you about Adam O'Brien and Jason Taylor is they're not yes people. They're not people that just say yes, sir, no, fucking sir. If they think that there's a selection's wrong, or if they think someone should or shouldn't be in the side, they're going to tell Serraldo exactly what they think. Gus is going to tell you what he thinks from what he sees. Our board, we've got experienced people all around the club, from Barbar and everyone. Now, I'm not saying they come in and get involved in how the things run every day, because they don't. But if they've got an opinion, they give it. And the only difference is they don't go on 360 and try and tear their club down because they don't like some decisions that are made in the club. That's the only difference. There's no one on our roster getting paid to do that. And I think we've got a lot of men in our club that are strong people that just that close off a lot of that torment and stuff and get to business and get to work, and they hold themselves accountable. Just because we don't agree with a selection that they do, they've got their reasons for it. And usually, and this is what I say, guys, we were 0-2 coming into 2024, right? And everyone was prepared to say this isn't going to work with Serraldo. Everyone's impatient. They've had enough of waiting. But there was things that he did that I didn't agree with early in 23. There was a couple of things that he did in 2024 that I didn't agree with. But later on, it became apparent as to why he did it. Because he's building resilience in the players he's got, and he's trying to work out which ones are Bulldogs and which ones aren't. And that's not going to stop. I do agree with parts of the media, Gas, that he will keep bringing some players in and letting some players go until he gets closer to what we need to bring the confident young kids that they've identified as the ones to take us into the future, can get into that side and start to produce and start to get accustomed to doing things. And unfortunately, we said last year we had to let go of Reid Marnie. We had to blood Bailey Hayward. They, just like every other club in the NRL, we weren't confident that Toby was going to take us to another level, and was sort of forced to blood some kids early, and then had no luck with injuries, which forced the majority of the changes leading towards the end of the year. When we do the review of this game, though, there's some obvious reasons why we lost that match outside of the players that were on the field, but just through things that we were missing that are so instrumental to us even scoring points, let alone winning matches. And that'll be important that we talk about that. And we'll also, Gaz and I will give our opinions on the changes we probably would like to see over the next few weeks, and how we think the performance can improve leading into this Cowboys match, which we've got Cowboys, Dolphins, and Sharks. Now, those three sides are all around us on the same points, or actually all those sides are either 2 points below us or on the same points as us. So if we win 2 or 3 of those matches, we're back in the 8. We win all 3, we're probably in the top 4. That's how close it is, guys. And we've seen some bipolar results from teams all year. So whilst it feels pretty bad losing to some teams that no undoubtedly had a lot of talent missing from their squads, we were also missing some parts to our squad which are imperative for how we play. And that's just the reality of it. So we'll also talk about Jonathan Sua, and anything else that comes up on the chats. Any thoughts, Gaz?
Look, it's quite obvious, guys, that some of our players are out of form, and that that's not something I'm going to hide from. And I said it to Michael on Friday, and I said it even last week. Like, starting with Montoya, he's out of form, and you watch the way he's playing at the moment, and he's just lacking a bit of confidence at the moment, and it's definitely hurting us because we were in the grind early in that game. Obviously, we had a lot of opportunities to score early, which we didn't capitalize on. But, the effort that he did to try to push that ball out, you could just see this just lacking confidence. Different times of the year he might be okay, but at this point in time, it just he didn't execute it well. And if you noticed, the captain, Critter, was straight behind him and absolutely gave him a gobful straight after it. So he needed to be thinking more positive about that, almost like he's going to have to score that try to ground that ball, rather than get down low and try to push a ball that's still bouncing. These things happen when you're out of form. It happens to all of us. So it's sport. Sometimes you're on, sometimes you're off. I'll give you, for me, it's very easy. I look at golf and I can be firing one day, same as the professionals. You go out the following day, completely different game. That's just form. That's just sport. It happens. But for me, he's out of form at the moment, and it wouldn't be a bad thing for him to have a few weeks off playing in another grade or whatever it might be. It's just a shame that we've had the injuries to Karaz and Tuala, and so we've had the more changes you make now, it just makes it harder and harder to get everyone to gel. But everyone's obviously at the moment like looking at, where are the results. But it's a long process, guys. It's not easy. There's a lot of things that, we're trying to do that are not just going to happen straight away. When we do put it together, we were the only team still to beat Penrith when we put it together. And that game, we looked really good. The only opportunities Penrith got was when, they had 10 minutes of ball. All we did was get the ball back and kick it back to them. But that was the only thing we had. And they had some penalties, etc. So, we've got the game there. We've got the team at the moment, but we've just got a few players that are out of form, and that's just causing a few others to, you fall behind to Brisbane, and it just set us back a bit. And the guys, when you're playing catch up too early, it just hurts you. And we've been doing that a lot for all our losses, for Newcastle, for the Rabbitohs, even last week. We're playing catch up in those games when we're losing. The games that we're grinding, we're in close, like the Dragons and the Raiders, we're winning those games. But when we're behind at the moment, they're not executing what they're trying to do. So I've got no problem. If we were to rest some players and give someone else a go, no problem. Let's go. Give them a rest. But I just feel like at the moment, a few players are down and out on their form. and sometimes it drags a few other players down with them, because I've seen a bit of frustration. Last week, Salmon, he had a go at Montoya, and this week Critter did. So when there's things like that, players are there and they're basically telling the players what they should be doing, what they're doing. That's sort of the things that they know they've been working on in training, and then you get out on the field, it's not happening. It's like, come on, mate, we worked on this. What's going on? So, yeah, it happens in all levels of sport, guys. It's just one of those things that you get, but it's not a bad thing if he has a rest. We're going to need them for a lot of the season anyway. There's a lot of injuries at the moment for every team, so the teams are all going to be up and down. Yeah.
Look, guys, I think, we go to Penrith, we dominate the early part of the game, we put on points. So our attack and our halfback isn't shit. What the problem is when you got a young halfback and you got that early season sort of inconsistency that you get with your attack, it's hard to get that consistency, especially out of the young guys. Now, Adam Reynolds just was a thorn in our side like he has been for the last decade. I don't think we even make the 2012 grand final if he doesn't pull his hamstring at halftime. They were on top, South, till he did his hammy, right? They were on top. They had us covered, I believed. Anyway, many people won't believe that, but that was one of the greatest seasons I've watched the Bulldogs play, by the way. They should have won a comp. My mum, that was basically the last year she was on the planet, and she loved that season, and we had many great times watching it. But one thing I'm going to say is, guys, there's reasons our attack isn't on. When our three biggest offloaders aren't there, that's a lot of our stuff has come off the back of our offloading ability out of our own end in that middle third where we get things going. When we didn't score to start that match, we were getting repeat sets, and and I think the idea was to try and break them down. Now, Critter's obviously still got an AC joint, which is going to cause him problems for a while. He said he's all good and all that, but you could see it was impacting his defense and the way that he was carrying the ball. He still made 150 meters. I heard these fuckers on the Kennel podcast, and I'm sorry if people tune in and like those guys. Great. Love them. But when they sit there and tell bullshit about what they're saying that Critter's doing nothing now. Critter's no good. They're saying all these players are shit because we lost, because they can't handle it. But I'll tell you why it's more. They want to be NRL 360 and they want to be superstars in social media. We don't. We're a community of people who support the Bulldogs, who hate fucking losing as much as everybody else. And what we want to do is just talk about how, we can support the club, talk about where things are going, and just sort of educate ourselves through the way that we talk with each other. That's about what we do here. That's the reason I got a podcast, because I got sick of typing to people. So now I just talk. And that's why I'm here. And I reckon I got about 40 messages after the game on Friday night that I was up until about 1 a.m. in the morning responding to, and I didn't even get to some of my closer mates that have been chatting to me a lot of the time. Like Timmy, I hardly even responded to Timmy. And that's just people just trying to feel better after a loss, because it's hard. I get it. The whole weekend gets fucking ruined. I get it. But we're privileged to be in a country, and that's what this Anzacs is about. To be in a country where we've got the freedom, where our biggest distraction is our footy team fucking losing on the weekend. So we've got to put it into perspective, guys. And the Broncos kids did an amazing job. They deserve everything they got. They fought hard. And the biggest difference between us and them is that their backline is supreme. When there is a chance, that ball rockets from one player's hands across 4 or 5 blokes that are all fucking prepared to get the ball into a winger who knows that our up and in defence is about to step in and turn its shoulder in. and Montoya was 20 metres away from the bloke who got the ball. Now, we can sit there and blame Montoya, but I've seen Carraz get done like that about 10 times, to be honest. When we conceded on the other side to Dean Mariner in the corner, there was 5 Bulldogs defenders that were attempted to stop that try that literally got hands on that guy as he was scoring. It was a fucking fantastic try. And I get why we see a player like that's got speed, he's got skill. If you knew Dean Mariner coming through the grades, you would have been saying, why hasn't the Bulldogs signed this kid? Like, he's got almost as much swagger and stepping ability and ball skills as what Reece Walsh had when he was coming through. He could be playing fullback somewhere, Dean Mariner. He's that good. He might not, though. He just settles in and happy to be a Broncos junior and get paid a bit less than everybody else, because that's what they'd rather do. Their families around here. Great talent. Ezra Mam, I have arguments with people that Ezra Mam isn't as good as he is. He got booed at his home ground last night. Now, I get that he's been advised poorly and read the room wrong, but as far as his talent goes, he's fucking and one of the best attacking talents there is in this NRL. And he's only young and going to get a lot better. So these aren't excuses for the Bulldogs. What these are realities, and they're just they're the premiers, mate. And those kids getting their opportunity to come on, like Preston Ricky's also another one who's come through the Penrith system. He goes all right too. Don't you worry about that. Goes to, they offload Fletcher Baker and get Preston Ricky to come in. They've Hayes Perham, as I said, he was expected to be the next Sean Johnston. Coming to the Bulldogs, where we were, was probably the worst thing for his career. After, deputising for Clint Gufferson for a fair while, Gaz. So the point I'm making is, guys, there's no games easy. I think the Parramatta loss was way worse. And I think you can start having the expectations of Bulldogs. Look, Bulldogs teams don't need to have 4 internationals homegrown from their junior base. We only need probably 4 players that are considered for Origin or, considered to be internationals or second or third best in their position. That's enough for a Canterbury club. That's enough for us. We've won plenty of comps with the debatable about who's the best or second or third best player in a position. We've seen it through many generations, right? We can win comps with that if we get the right pack and get the right sort of players in our club. Now, I think the players that we've brought into this club, which got a lot of criticism, have done a wonderful job, and some of them are out of form and struggling a little bit. You got Kurt Mann dropping the ball. The pass to Kurt Mann wasn't that good. You've got, Santilli dropping the ball. Now, that's another common denominator, guys. When Santilli Tupanua, Kurt Mann, and Harry Hayes, or the third forward, come on the field, and the Bulldogs have dominated possession and territory, they take us to another level. They're elite. If we hold parity and we've got energy, we've got possession, the game's in the balance, they come on and do their job and they barely make mistakes and they improve us. But when they got to come on and tackle for 15 minutes, it's very, very hard for us to turn that around, unfortunately. And that's been a common thing as well. 10 drop balls, Gas.
And our discipline has been extremely poor the last 2 games. Discipline has been very poor the last 2 games. Yes.
The handling.
Discipline's been shocking the last 2 weeks as well, yeah.
13-3 penalty count we are down in the last 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So you change those things, the game changes. Now, Harry's made a point down there that we had that possession early and didn't score off it. Yep, that puts confidence in the opposition. Yep.
Right.
And then And then, but we then defended the same amount of tackles that they did, right? They defended 17 tackles, then we defended 17 tackles, right? But you know what happened? Montoya, when he went to clean up, fucked it up, and old mate scores, Shibasaki. Now, that's not to do with form. That's just to do with he fucked that moment up. His intent was to knock the ball out. The action was right. He just messed it up, and it cost us a try. Right? Then then someone else has made a mistake not long after that, and they've gone around us in the corner. They're a confident, cohesive team that's come through the grades together, full of Broncos juniors, as many juniors in that side as the Panthers junior system. And that's what the Bulldogs want to be. That's where we want to have a system where, you know, all these kids that have played together and come through together are in NRL together. For that to happen, the players that are there now are going to have to do their best to work as hard as they can. And look, if you told me that Kurt Mann, Jamin Salmon, who's some of the other players that we've had that have come into the side, Josh Curran and all these guys were going to make us top 4, Max King, you'd laugh at people. You'd say, oh, we need better than that. I believe that. I didn't think Serrato was going to turn those guys into Origin players. Like, come on. They've done well. And now it's a bit tougher. The rules have changed again. Melbourne have lost 6 in a fucking row and conceded the most points in the comp, I think. Maybe they're second worst in defence. Melbourne Storm. The best spine in the comp. Called the best spine to start this season. Now, I don't care. I don't really care about other teams, but it's called perspective and context. Sort of does make me feel a little bit better. I don't know about you guys, but it makes me feel a bit better that the Storm are suffering. And Ricky's Raiders have probably performed a little bit better in some of their losses though, but they got smashed on the weekend. Who smashed them on the weekend? I've even forgot. Wests.
Tigers
are up the top. We want to act like the world's fallen in. Maybe it just takes a bit of a correction. Maybe it is just dropping a couple of players. Maybe it is. But remember, guys, when Cherry was dropped and Tuala was coming in, what did the majority of people who are vocal on social media say? What'd they say, Gaz, about Tuala? Do you remember?
Shit. Yeah.
Basically, shit.
Nobody wanted him to go in.
Got no attack. He's no threat.
Yeah. No speed, no nothing.
And honestly, he's another one. He's another one I looked at and go, well, when he was playing for the Newcastle, I sort of thought that anyone we had could outdo him. But I didn't watch him strongly enough. And he made a huge difference to us, guys.
He was our best player when he played this year. Most games.
Now, people go from saying Connor Tracy is great to saying he's the worst fullback in the comp now. And he's out of position and he's here and there. Come on. Look, Connor, you're not going to win a comp with Connor, they say. Well, they said this, the media said we're not going to win a comp with Toby or with Marnie because of his discipline. But then as soon as we go get some players, they all want to feel sorry for him. And now it's the same with Connor. You know, we re-signed Connor and now everyone's on his back. Connor, I'm not saying he's been playing the house down. I'm not saying that. He's had a few errors. He's thrown some intercepts. There's a couple of drop balls in a game. There's been some bad passes. He's, got cramped on a few runs. Like, I'm not saying he's been...
Not from a lack of effort, though.
Not from a lack of effort.
No.
But he is an important player. Who else is there? Now we have Tani Dottie come on, Tay Cochrane's sister, right? But I'll say straight now, Tay's not going to be the answer right now. Neither's Raymond Peru. Neither's Cade Dykes. He's had 3 games back in Cup. He needs time. So the guys we've got are the ones who are going to have to get us out of it. The answer's not in reserve grade guys. Now, I do think, and I think Gaz agrees, that part of me goes, well, the thing that the clash with Montoya and Reid Marnie at the nightclub and stuff makes for some dramatic rugby league. You know, but in my opinion, there's been a few errors from Mars that, and I don't care what other fans think. I just think if I'm the coach, I'm probably not happy with that, and I'm looking for a response from the team, and I might be giving someone else a crack. But this week, I would expect Tuala would come back in because they said it was a minor hamstring. I don't know how far Max King's away. I think that could be 4 weeks. This would be his 3rd week. It'd be 3 weeks on Thursday, if I'm right, Gas.
Yep.
Carraz would be another 6 or 7 weeks, potentially. They'll probably talk about him coming back in 4 or 5. He usually takes 1 or 2 after. So we've got to find someone else who's going to get our second phase play going, right? That needs to happen.
And Kikau's a big loss. He's usually good for a few offloads.
Well, he's the number 1 offloader in the team in the amount he does, but it's Carraz and King's threat to offload, which opens the game up for other players a little bit. Kikau opens up our game more when he's running straight and hard. Wouldn't you agree? And some of those offloads, as you know, can be a little bit hit and miss, but he's got a pec injury. He'll be gone for ages. So we've got some pathways opening up. Now, DSF's getting some fitness. I don't know what happened with Turpin, but he made 38 tackles before he went off and didn't miss any. You know, there was some huge contributions as far as efforts-wise when we look at the stats. Salmon was forced to play edge and lock in way longer minutes than usual again. So to sort of beat up on him doesn't make sense. It's like, well, who are you going to replace this kid with, and what are you going to get out of that player? So that's what I want, guys. It's not a case of, oh, let's just throw someone in there. You tell me who in reserve grade is going to make our team better if they replace that player in our side. That's all I say. That's all I say. Educate us on that. And it's not a case of just give someone a go, because that just shows you really shouldn't be telling the coach who the job, or surely anyone's better than what this player's dishing up. I get it. I understand it. But if you can, tell me who you reckon could do a better job, and we'll see if we align with that or whatever. I'll tell you why you're right or wrong. Do you want to go through some of the chats, guys? Don't really elaborate. Just say hello to everyone.
Timmy's saying with Sua signed with the Bears, do you think Renakama would be extended?
Of course. Renakama will be in the top 30 next year.
Any truth on the fact that he signed with the Bears, or obviously is there still a cooling off period as well if it is true?
I 100% believe it's true. I 100% believe that there has been, look, from what I've speaking with some of the families and parents in good faith, you get a lot of kids who are mates, and when we talked about instability, this is what I said. There was no real instability in the top in the playing group around Galvin, and that someone else is trying to start that as well, saying that Serrato's lost the dressing room and blah, blah, blah. And that someone from the top 30 told them that people are unhappy and stuff. Now, if that person is in the top 30, I would suggest they won't be with the Bulldogs next year. And you get that. You get someone who gets disgruntled. There was a post on Instagram yesterday, which by one of our players, which without context, I'm not sure, but with what I saw, doesn't look too good and would need some explaining, in my opinion. And that person's definitely won't be at the club next year. I'm not going to say their name. You can speculate all you want. And until it comes out, until I got context. So until I get some context, that's when I'll talk about it. But inside our four walls is very strong. There's still a lot of belief there. There's I've got confirmation of that. If you watch the guys train, as I said, they don't fall out of love. Obviously, there was some frustration on the game on the weekend. But with Jonathan Sua, the elephant in the room is that his manager, who's his manager?
Not sure.
Same guys. Well, it's the same company that manages Toby Sexton. And now I think there's a couple other players that are with the club with the same manager. But there'll be less with that. And that manager's probably got the biggest player manager now, the Gaz and I in Pacific Sports Management. I think there could be a few issues there just from what we saw with Peter Bedell saying that Toby had signed with the club and was going to extend for 2 years, and all this bullshit out in the media and all this stuff was a lot of fabricated stuff, right? And I don't think the player gets involved, but you got to understand, certain managers tell these kids that they deserve a spot now, that they're ready now. And you watch him in cup and whatever, and you probably agree as a fan. Like, I've been wanting Jonathan Sua I named him in my predicted list 3 times last year, and he didn't play, right? I'm a huge fan of Jonathan Sua. I think there was a chance he wasn't going to even sign this year. So we got him for a year. Gus said some nice stuff about him on X, that he, and he's got a great deal with Perth. To think that the fact we're developing juniors and we've got 2 new clubs and franchises coming in, Gas, that we're not going to lose some players. That'll be 4 Bulldogs that have gone to Perth. There's Luke Smith, who was a captain in our reserve grade side, a second rower that had to play centre. And got himself a deal at Perth. Bloody brilliant. Good kid playing in England at the moment. Toby at Catalan's going to Perth. Curran going to Perth. Looks like John O'Sua going to Perth. And there might be more, guys. There might be some more.
We've got a lot of players. We've got a lot of players off contract this year. Come November 30.
Yeah.
If they don't sign some of those potentially before, there's going to be a lot of players. And some of those players, guys, they're not going to be re-signed. It's just the way it is.
We're going to talk about that, Gas. We're going to talk about some players that we think
there will be potentially some turnover in players just to keep on the team they want. So
yeah, we're going to talk
about finished
about
product yet. We're working towards it, guys. We're working towards
it. Your audio's out of sync. It feels like I'm watching an old Bruce Lee movie. So the point is, Gas, is that but why do you think they're targeting Bulldogs players?
come from a good system.
Our juniors are always up against it, guys. When you got 3,000, and those, as I said, those juniors got when you got players like Paul Alamotti who are able to earn 400 or 500 grand before they play NRL, and then after 3 games are in the media having coffee with Todd Payton, and saying they're going to get a 4-year deal at $600,000 a year. Like, that's not, you can't win comps when your juniors are holding you at ransom. I'm sorry, you just can't. If you're to have juniors in your system to do well, they've got to be getting paid. You've got to be getting value out of those players. And all the great Bulldogs sides of the past, we were able to go buy players as we needed from everywhere over Australia, and obviously we weren't worried about the cap. But we always had these contributors, especially in that 2004 or 2000, 2004, 2005 era. there was these youngsters coming through, like really didn't play much NRL, but before they were contributing at a high level, like Rennie Mature. You know, Asatasi probably had a few more years to build up, but you know, Jonathan Thurston was a big contributor, only just come into that side. You know, you had Sonny Bill, his first real season straight away in the team. We got Willie Tonga from Para, knowing he had a bit of talent, but he turned into a state of origin player and a really great centre. Ben Harris, Adam Perry, you know, these guys are just sort of just come from nowhere to contribute, right? That is how you win comps, because they come through your system and they develop with each other and they know each other's games and you get value out of them. And then you've got to go and have some money to buy someone where you need. Now, to Harry's point, yeah, it'd be great to go get an Adam Reynolds right now or someone of that caliber, but who's going to let you? You know, we had to go and buy a kick out for 800 and a critter for 800 and a Birdo for 550 a year before he'd done anything. You know, pay 600 grand for a winger and 650 for a hooker. We had to do all that stuff to give our fans some hope and to build and to get things going. And then we bought all these fringe players and opportunity signings. But those players are going to leave, a lot of those guys, and be replaced by juniors at some point. And getting that to happen, and when it does happen, can take a little bit of time and a little bit of shuffling. And I know, and all we hear in the narratives, though, is, oh, we let all our good juniors go to keep Montoya. No, it's not. It's far different to that. But I'll tell you what, guys, the biggest problem is, the hardest thing is that our little junior base, which doesn't have enough juniors, those guys do obviously feel threatened when we're bringing in players from all over, from New Zealand, from Fiji, from Queensland, all these schoolboy stars. And then when we put kids straight into the top 30, it pisses them off. It makes them upset. And they lose faith and loyalty in our pathway. That's just a reality. But then they go join someone else's pathway and block some other kid over theirs pathway. Yet they don't seem to worry about that. So, look, it's a business, and we've still got a lot of great juniors coming through. And I love I feel comfort in the fact that people like Josh Jackson and Mark O'Mealy and all that are heavily involved. And Luke Feller has a wonderful knack of man management with these kids, especially through the high school system that he's worked with. So, guys, you need to trust. I know you don't want to hear trust the process for 2 decades, but that's just where we're at. That's the reality. You can't hide from it.
Let's go through some more chats, mate. We're quite a few bit behind.
That's all right to review. It's about us tonight.
Yeah, you're all right, mate. Just there's a few comments out there in response to what you're saying, mate. That's all. Just want to straighten them out a bit with regards to a bit more context. That's all.
Smash them.
No smashing, mate. Salmon's Showy saying Salmon goes back a long way with Seralda at Penrith.
So does Burton and everybody else, brother.
Correct. And Kiko, yep. It's killing me that Burton doesn't kick anymore. We could have used his boot a couple of times in that game. It's been 3 games now that he hasn't been kicking. I mean, Galvin's done the majority of the kicking now, which exclusively since the Penrith game. Now, I don't know whether that's an injury or something or just a tactic that they're doing to develop Galvin. Who knows? Whatever it is, it seems to be consistent now for 3 games in a row that Galvin's dominating the kicking.
What happened in the trial, Gaz, with Burton? Just a thought. What happened to him in the trial match against Newcastle? He injured his hamstring.
Correct.
I think that has a bit to do with it, just personally.
Yeah. He puts up the odd kick, guys, but he's trying to control it. You know, we need him as well as a running sort of half. And when he does run, he's still very, very, very good. He's still very dangerous. Every time he gets the ball and he runs, you look like you're just waiting for him to come out the other side. He's got that elusiveness. He's got that size. He's got that build, and he's a very dangerous runner. And look at the other day when Killer went through, he was the first one to step in behind and support him and get that first try. So he's still very switched on, very alert. That's usually a position that most team, most fullbacks would have been, but he was aware and got the jump on it very quickly and got himself in support. So especially up the middle of the field. But I just feel like, and I said it after the Penrith game, I feel like there's an injury there potentially or something that's holding him back because it's a big shift from strategy. Even though that worked well against Penrith and it kept the ball away from Toto, it put it on the other side. But now that he's done it 3 games in a row, I think he might have put 1 or 2 bombs up recently. Like I think he tried one against Parramatta off memory, and then so they've been very limited. But there might be something there. Shoei's saying we need to
before you finish there. What's the number one? What's the number one cause of injuries? What normally makes hamstrings go?
The exertion of the kick.
Yeah, fatigue. So fatigue in the legs is usually when you do your hamstring. Or early in seasons and stuff, a lot of people will pop them out. So yeah.
And there's been a high rate. 20% of the NRL is currently injured, guys. So and there's a lot of soft tissue as well, which is huge across most teams. And some of them, if they're higher grade, they're out for a lot longer than some. So thankfully for us, Tuala was on the softer side, so we're hoping he might be named on Tuesday. But it's a tough one to bear across the board, guys, for all most teams.
Can I give 10 more words on Burton?
Go for it.
Burton has been fatiguing. So he's worked over. It wouldn't have helped with kick-out going. But I think there's 5 tries we've conceded where Matt Burton's been sitting on the ground at marker or dummy half on the previous tackle. And where we've just had the opposition team get us on the numbers. So it happened twice on Friday night. And it happened against Newcastle a couple of times at different times. So I don't think he's 100% either. Just saying there's things in his game. He made a lot of important tackles on the weekend, and his contact, I believe, it gets better every year the way he defends. But I think there's some fatigue happening out there with Birdo with a couple of injuries. And I think that's why he's not kicking, because it just doesn't make sense otherwise. And people want to make it up and believe that it's just the coach tinkering or trying to manufacture Galvin to be the ultimate halfback and whatever. It's certainly not hurting Galvin's game by learning all this stuff right now. But I'm telling you now, Matty Burton, he's not only a great kicker of length, he puts it where it's supposed to be 99% of the time.
Yep.
He rarely stuffs it up. So, guys, let's just be a little bit understanding of that. What's the next point here from Shoei? We need to rest players.
Did you see how it played up lock when he came on and ball played? We can persist with that. Look, one thing I'll say, which is very obvious for most people to know, if you listen to us in the last sort of year since it's happened, but Hayward wasn't our first option to be hooker straight away, guys. That wasn't the plan. Wasn't the plan. The plan was Marnie was still signed for this year, guys. The plan was to bring Hayward in 20 minutes a game, work underneath Marnie and develop last year and then into this year as well. So by the end of this year, he can then take on himself if Marnie hasn't been re-signed. Marnie did to himself what he did to himself when he decided he wanted to be greedy, him and his manager, and basically put demands on the Bulldogs to sign him up, 300 days before he was even due to be re-signed. All these games that he played, and then when his brother started talking stuff, that disrupted the team, guys. In the end, they allowed him to explore other options, and off he went. But that wasn't the option the Bulldogs wanted. We still offered him a contract for 2 years, guys, even though he received a bigger offer at Cowboys. But we offered him a contract based on what we thought based on a 60-minute player, which is what he was delivering for us. The effort he was delivering, the consistency, he was always falling away in those last 20 minutes with errors, penalties, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So the plan was to have Hayward develop into that. Unfortunately, when Marnie did what he did to push himself out, because he pushed himself out, guys. We didn't push him out. He did that to himself. Then we had to fast-track Bailey Hayward. And that's just the reality, guys. Now, is he the finished product? 100% no. But he's worked his ass off in the offseason, and he's only going to get better every game. Every time he plays, he's going to get better. Then he's going to learn more. He's going to develop more. But he's not a hooker like that you would say straight up. He's a hooker. He's learning. He's developing. And he's put the effort in. And if the coach didn't like what he was seeing and the coaching staff, they wouldn't have kept him there. So, Turpin coming on is not a bad option as well. We've spoken about that before, where he's a good backup. He's a good option. He's tough. Everybody jumped on him last year when he had one bad game. But he played solid the other day, guys. He was very consistent until he got that injury late. So, look, Hayward's got a lot to learn. But, yes, it's not his preferred position, but that's his position right now. So he has to keep developing that. They don't grow on trees, these hookers, unfortunately. So, old Dave, number of blokes in no hurry to get back to our side after a kick was disappointing. Some guys were behind Reynolds on tackle 3 still, and not once most of the game. No sense of urgency at times. Time to stand up in adversity. What do you reckon are the best ways to make finals from here? Keep working on the process, guys. Keep working on the process. It worked for us in the last 2 years. We know that when we put it together, we're a good team, and we showed that 3 weeks ago. But we need to be consistent, guys. We need to be doing that, every week. If it means you don't get a result some weeks, so be it. But we need to put that same effort in, week out, guys. It's that consistency that's going to get you there. We're still not getting absolutely flogged like some of the teams, guys. We're still in games. If you watched yesterday's game against the Rabbitohs for Melbourne, that game was over by half-time, and Melbourne were never in that game. And they've got some superstars in their team. And they had a spine there that most call the best spine in the NRL. So it's just the way it is, guys. Just reinforcing, Sua signed. Harry's comment that you mentioned earlier, saying we need a halfback, and he's not mentioning SOS.
Sean O'Sullivan's been...
SOS. He's not talking about SOS. He's talking about ASAP is what he meant to say, mate.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, he's not sure. That's not what he meant. He goes, we need a genuine experienced halfback. Reynolds taught us a lesson. And
we're not going to be able to buy one.
It's okay. What I think I can answer Harry as well. Harry, what you're saying is we need someone who's got the experience of a Reynolds. Look at the age of Reynolds. Look at all the halfbacks when they develop their full experience. That takes time. We're working with Galvin to get there, and he's already showed he can do things that people have said he couldn't do. And his best is not going to be for another few more years anyway. So, unfortunately, if people think that Galvin or Mitch Woods, or whoever's going to be the answer for us right now, it's not going to happen straight away. These, why would Roosters sign a 37-year-old Daly Cherry Evans, guys? Experienced halves like that, they don't grow on trees, and they play some of them their best footy when they get to that late 20s and early 30s. So it's just a reality. We can't just go and buy one of these guys and bring them in and say, here you go, off you go. We're trying to build our way up through everything else and get ourselves there. So I understand what you're saying, but I don't think it's that easy, mate. I wish I could say yes, but I don't think it's that easy. I've seen enough from the ones that we've got from Birdo and Galvin to show us that we can do well, and we can only get better as we're going.
Yep.
We lost our DNA when he left.
Reid Marnie.
On Reid Marnie. I don't agree. I just think it's a change. Marnie made his bed. He's got to sleep in it now, guys. That's it. He showed his true colours.
We can't afford him.
That's it. And when we say we can't afford someone, guys, it's the same as Penrith losing a team that would still make a grand final that are not there at the moment. if you look through their team. So that's just what happens, guys. You got to keep hanging on to some and keep letting go of others.
And people saying Hayward offers nothing. Like, sorry, I have to disagree. Look, he went the wrong way the other night. Should have went left, had a big open left after we had two good plays. We were down 26-12. And it would have been about 13 minutes left if we score off. I don't think we go left. We're in a situation where we score go very, very close to scoring. He went to the right, and yeah, it was the wrong way. But that happens. These things happen. Young hookers are going to make mistakes. You just have to accept that. It's a process. It takes time. We've got some young kids we're developing in that position as well. They're going to put pressure on him. I do believe he enjoyed having a break too. Like, he needed a break. He made 53 tackles last week. He got singled out he had to tackle Junior Paulo on his own 13 times. You try doing that. Now, Reed Marnie can do it, I know. Reed Marnie on one of those times would have lifted Junior Paulo on his ass and dumped him. But I can guarantee you in 2 plays' time, they would have scored when Marnie wasn't there in the hole, in the line. Because that was one of the things with Reed. He can't, his ego takes over. He the biggest problem with the Bulldogs, and somebody said this the other, a really good comment, and someone who knows rugby league back to front, and has done a lot of work with the Bulldogs in the past. I'm not going to name his name, but he's helped out this year as well, by the way. He said we don't spend enough time on the ground with the opposition. So what he means is that we don't get to wrestle teams on the ground enough. We don't win that enough. We've made a habit of catching players, so our first contact isn't always as good as it can be. I thought there was some really good moments with our first contact. Was much better than the Para game on the weekend, but it wasn't for long enough periods. But what we like to do is sort of catch teams and then drag them back. And we did that in parts, and we did man up in parts, but just not consistently long enough, right? But we need to spend more time on the ground. When we spend more time on the ground and win that ruck and control it, our wingers, teams don't score too many points on our edges when that happens, because the line's set, everything's where it's supposed to be. It's very, very hard. Unless we have people miss some one-on-one tackles or they get late offloads away, which we need to rely on a lot of the time, we handle business. But unfortunately, we're not working as well as we need to. And a big reason, and guess what? Who we're missing in that space, guys? Guess who we're missing in that space, in our pack? Max King. Max King has been our man for the last 3 years. He's our guy. He's the one. There's the reason why he's still got number 8 on his back, and Leo coming on the big money, but didn't get the number 8. He got the second prop job. He's still there, bud?
Yeah, mate. Here, mate.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, mate. We'll go for some stats shortly, but look, I thought Hayward enjoyed getting out there to 13, and we did look pretty good at times because he's a quality little player that's going to get better and better. But to disregard some of the stuff that he's done at 9, there's been some pretty good moments we've had where he's identified the space and got things going and gone the right way. And he's only going to get better and better. You just got to stick with this kid, and hopefully Turpin doesn't keep getting injured, because he gets out there, and the idea obviously for him to be there was to stiffen up our middle a bit, win a bit more of that contact, win a bit more of that wrestle.
It was a 5-day turnaround, that's why as well.
And 5-day turnaround as well. Yeah. And as Gaz points out, they can only train, they're limited to the amount of hours they can train depending on the turnaround they have as well.
Yeah.
So when Serrato says we get to go and train on Monday, what he means is we get to go and actually have an extra 45-minute high contact session that we wouldn't have got to have last week, because you've got the travel plus you've only got the 5-day turnaround. due to insurance and that, there's only so much they can put their bodies through. But anyway.
Critter has to get match fit, missing the last few weeks.
Very smart comment.
Critter's done too many dummies. I think it was a tough one. Like, you're watching him, he's running and he's almost in two minds, like whether he wants to keep going himself, and he'd look outside him and he'd see that there was no space there and he'd just keep going instead of, sometimes giving it early, and maybe even Montoya turns it back to him or something if they come at him anyway. But there was a few times when it was almost like it was in a 50-50 situation, and it happened a couple of times, unfortunately. So
I think if Critter plays on the left, Jonathan Sua sees clear space a couple of times. That's what I reckon.
Yeah.
And I think the Katoni Stags Critter show would have been a fucking nice one to watch. I think Cherry went all right, but Katoni Stags play better than Cherry.
And Cherry plays better when Carraz is outside him. But anyway,
yeah, he does.
Captain's lacking a bit of confidence as well. He needs to talk with his players. Bulldog Mike saying to Sam, get off the pipe, mate. Reid was a good player who gave away too many penalties. Yep, I agree. But I thought you need to calm down a little bit, champ. I think we may need to see Mitch Woods. Well, when Mitch Woods starts playing again, we'll worry about that one, guys. Mitch Woods has not played a game this year, guys, and he's still injured. So hence why
with utter kindness.
Yes.
The very fact that the media talk about Mitch Woods as being the answer to us when he's been like, they've named him as on the Fox preview a few times, he's been named in the 23-man squad as that they predict he's going to be there. And he's been injured the whole time. Like, the poor kid just can't get a break. Get with it. Watch all things Bulldogs every week, guys. You'll know this shit. You wouldn't even talk about Mitch.
Harry's talking about the 3 or 4 sets on their line early in the game. We didn't look like scoring. That's what cost us the game. We score, the game changes. Our attack is terrible, hence why we need a halfback.
Okay, but Harry, we did that against Penrith and got the points. Was that because they were shit, or because? Yeah, I talked about this already because I think I saw that a little bit on the screen. So, yeah, inconsistency is what you're going to get. But those forwards need to crack the door open first so we can have opportunities out wide. We're not going to get a halfback. We're developing one. And that's just the reality, bro. We don't have the cap space. Who are you willing to sacrifice to get it? That's it. And how does it fix our stuff? If we got Mitchell Moses and didn't get, Critter, for example, or and a couple
I think you might
of
be talking about DCE or Ben Hunt maybe, but the price that they were asking for, and at their stage in their career, they're not the fit for what we're looking for.
How many times did Ben Hunt take the Dragons to town, man? Like, why would you want that fucking individual? I know Gus likes Ben Hunt. I think he likes his manager, Cole, and that. But Rockhampton boys, don't worry. There's a fan out there who thinks he knows anything if they're from Rockhampton. Loves Ben Hunt.
He's saying get out of form, but he wants them to regain it urgent. We're all hoping as well, buddy. Whoever's out of form, we're hoping that they bounce back, especially against Reid Marnie this week. Let's see how we go.
Well, Penrith we're going to put 50 on us because we're out of form.
Oh no, I heard 70 as well. I don't know if you heard. I heard 70 as well for that game that we were going to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
end our season now, guys. G'day, Lucas.
And this was a dirty play as well, mate. Don't worry.
Keep going, bro.
Who we got?
It might be 555.
That's all right.
We're all things positive, Hilly. Do you want to feel better? Do you want to understand, or do you just want to feel shit all the time? It's up to you, brother.
Yeah.
We all want to win. It's been a hard weekend. Trust me. That's why we took 2 days off.
That's why I drove 5 hours to go see the game, boys, in 2 days, up and back. Yeah. Wasn't the result I wanted and we wanted, but you still put yourself in there, guys, and you go up there, you support your team. And, that's why we're going to talk about things, good or bad, guys. So, it wasn't all good. There were some good moments and there's some terrible moments, but we put them on the line. We tick them off. We move on, guys. We start again. Like I said last week, there's always next week. We start again.
There's working class people putting all their hobby time into watching and supporting the Bulldogs. That doesn't mean that the club owes you a better performance or owes you better signings or whatever it is. Look, we're a constitutional club, guys, owned by the private members. We go by the merch. We do all the stuff. We all support the club. We will have our time again. We want to beat the Cowboys starting this week. How does that happen? Well, hopefully the coaches will work it out because they're going to have to if we're going to win. But it's the NRL. We can do it. Of course we can do it. Get behind there and support them every week. All things positive, bro. All things positive.
Yep. Bobby's saying the Dogs are disappointing. That's okay.
They were disappointing, mate.
Yep.
No, he's not.
Timmy's saying that Eels are the third team to lose after playing the Canterbury this year. I think there's more teams that have lost after playing Canterbury. Tim, maybe after beating us, but only Newcastle and Penrith were the only teams to win their games after playing the Bulldogs this year. Newcastle and then Penrith were the only ones to win after playing against us. And like you said, Penrith only just scraped in against the Dolphins, although that was in very, very hot conditions.
Canberra lost, Dragons lost.
Rabbitohs lost.
Rabbitohs lost.
Yep.
And Para
and
lost.
the Eels lost. Yep. So
Who are Brisbane playing next week? Who are Brisbane playing next week?
I think they play against they play a tough team on a Friday night. It was a tough game on the Friday. A blockbuster. Broncos against. Oh no, it wasn't Friday. It was the Roosters on Saturday at Allianz. Yeah, it was a tough game. I remember. Yeah, it was a tough game. Roosters, Allianz. So. Critter still carrying an injury, probably a week or two early. Throw some young guns in there. Look, guys, if he's up to
which young gun, Sam? Which young gun, Sam? Which young guns are going to make us are going to do better than Critter and our captain? You tell us. Which ones?
Yeah, especially
Jed
with
Reardon,
Tuala
the second
out.
rower playing centre, or
Yep.
And I don't say that disrespectfully.
We don't have the depth at the moment in all those positions, guys, especially in the back line, like some of the other teams might. So it looks good, but, at the moment, unless you're a winger and someone's in there for Jethro, for example, that's about it at the moment. You still need to get Tuala hopefully back soon, and we go from there.
That's it.
We got Timmy saying we haven't even reached the origin period yet. The Storm are going through uncharted waters. People need to chillax, back the side, guys. That's it, Timmy.
Let's go through them quickly, bro. You are. Yeah. So let's keep it going.
Worries, mate. Redekama, we had Karazia. Okay.
Redekama's only three New South Wales Cup games back after a bad injury too, guys. So just understand that. Just understand
that. Bulldogs for Life Facebook posted some very toxic garbage after the Broncos game.
He's come out today though, and he's back on the train. He just gets angry.
Harry, yep, I know the owner of that page. I'm one of the admins, by the way, and I don't post.
On Bulldogs for Life. Well, Harry, somebody fucking blocked me off it, and it wasn't Khalid.
Maybe it was Harry, mate. Harry, what are you doing, mate?
Did you block me, Harry? Bloody hell, mate.
Harry, what are you doing, man?
I actually used to moderate the Bulldogs for Life page with Khalid.
Yeah. Showy, what do you got? We just need to play football. We can play, but too much structure is killing us. Galvin at Tigers played ad lib. He stood out. This footy at the moment is killing me. We have the players. I said to Michael the other day, guys, sometimes we need to play like, when we play at the end of the game when we're behind by 20 and we're just throwing the ball around and trying. Sometimes we need to play like that at the start. You know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I know what they try to do. They go into their usual grind and try to grind teams out and etc. But, you know, like we mentioned a few times, that if we'd scored early in the game and led 6 or 12-0, we could have then played our game. But we didn't, and then we got into that, you know, catch-up footy, which hurts. So,
and guys, look, the Broncos are better, but let's not forget, Critter being thrown into touch, that's penalised every day of the fucking week.
Yeah.
Every day of the week. And then they get a ridiculous piggyback out of it. And then there's 2 other tries, which I don't think are tries either. Like, I'm not blaming that for the loss, but these things all count. They all add up. And,
Harry's
push you further away from where you are, if you know what I mean.
Harry's got Stags in front of Critter for Origin. No, he makes it on form. Focus on the Bulldogs. I mean, I hope you're right, Harry. I don't want him to play Origin, mate. I'm happy for Stags. I don't even rate Stags, to be honest, and he's played Origin. He hasn't done well. I don't rate him in Origin. But if he makes it ahead of Critter, so be it. And I'll tell you what, Carraz has also pretty much ruled himself out with his injury. So if he's back for us, he's back for us. It is what it is.
I'm going to put the stats up on the screen behind us, guys.
No worries. Yeah, errors kill us. I mean, they had guys 43 sets, and they only made 3 errors, the Broncos. You'll see that in a sec. So they played fantastic footy, and we had 10 errors, guys, with less sets. Yet we had more possession. Any person that names James Medical's a player in a team sport shows that they've got know nothing about coaching. End of story. Thanks, Andy. Sorry I couldn't catch you the other day, mate. Good to get caught up.
Andy's an absolute legend. So is Macca from X and Benny Short. Great supporters of the Bulldogs through thick and thin. Well done, guys.
Errors are killing us at the moment. Yep, and you can see that up there as well, guys.
40 from 43. Like, tell me sides would lose when they complete that way, though. Seriously. Not many. You know, to win that game, we had to complete at that same level at least. And we didn't. Game over. Game lost. Go out there, hold the ball. Look, I also agree that we've probably left things a little bit late before playing some ad lib. And as I said, the intent with those offloads early and getting things down there. But I will say, like, players who go out and take, sometimes that's what the coach calls the easy option when they go away from the structure. So I know it seems, I heard people saying this in the crowd, like, oh, they're too structured. They're not allowed to do anything, all this sort of stuff. Well, I don't know a team in the NRL that is just allowed to go out there and play footy. They're all executing practiced and trained rugby league moves to win games of rugby league, just like our side. And when we execute those plays and when we do the stuff we want to do and are able to achieve those moments through the lead up to that, we generally score points and score some really nice tries. We just haven't been that good at it. We've just been really poor this year in our overall consistency. And I think it just comes back down to some players being out of form, as Gaz said, and also just being behind the 8 ball a little bit. So hopefully we can get our season back on track against the Cowboys, prepare hard for a Dolphins match, and then take on Cronulla at Magic Round. And I think their record at Magic Round is as bad as the Bulldogs. So there you go. Who's up next?
Need someone with Critter. Montoya isn't the guy. Could be Tawala, or drop Montoya. Cherry and Critter on centre. There's a lot of options, guys. Let's see how we go. Mick, they're just playing rugby league. You can see Reynolds didn't play with these guys. We can turn this around, but we need to play footy.
Well, Adam Reynolds, everything that he did, every kick that he did, asked us questions, whether it was a dropout from the goal posts or everything he did asked us questions. Even when he landed them short and they bounced around, he had players coming, putting on pressure. He's just a pain in our ass and has always been that for the Bulldogs. He loves playing the Bulldogs. Obviously, there's a hatred for the Bulldogs or a deep respect. And he's just a world-class player. To beat Adam Reynolds in any team that we play, we have to fatigue him. We didn't do it. We didn't make him fatigued enough. And it doesn't help when the right edge defender or half doesn't have Viliami Kikau running at them. Right? So that made it Reynolds even better, the fact that Kikau wasn't there for most of that game and was impacted for a long time as well. So all these things, look, we can say it, keep it as simple as we want, Tony. Play fucking footy. All right. So what are we going to tell Serrado he should do this week? Tell the boys to go and play footy. All right. See yous. Have fun. Fucking, I'll meet yous at the coffee shop tomorrow and buys all the coffee when you win.
No worries. Tuala proved Andy wrong. Connor Tracy's workload's been massive. Yep, I agree, Andy. If Tuala's been our best player, alongside Preston, let that sink in. If Tuala is our best, there's a problem or attitude with the team. Needs to be addressed. Doesn't mean there's an attitude. It just means he's in form, mate. He's a good player. It doesn't matter if he's been a good player. When we played well against Penrith, everybody played well. Nobody was worried then. Everybody was...
everyone was back on the train.
Everyone was back on the train. Even the ones who kept saying all week that we're going to get hammered and we're not even going to bother. So it's all about confidence. He will recapture it. Tracy, yep.
That's it.
He's got one of our best fullback try savers, and he pulled off another couple of try savers, and I thought he did well. And
he stopped Willison at the end there too. What a fucking joke to take that to give them a
Parramatta
try.
as well. The Parramatta and Brisbane game, I don't think there was any disallowed bloody tries again. Every single try that was 50-50 went their way again. Every one of them. It was a joke.
Harry, go visit the club again.
That's it, Harry. When O'Brien was at Newcastle, they couldn't score a point. Well, that was only in their last year when they had none of their players, guys. He was scoring points, and a lot of them, 66-0 against us, and made the top 8 4
10 in a row. 10 wins in a row.
10 wins in a row. So he was attacking, and he's done some good things with us this year. He got us the win against Canberra with those 2 set plays. So everyone just needs to
two grand finals as an assistant coach in good systems.
He's a better assistant coach than he is a coach on his own, and he doesn't make the decisions at the end of the day.
These are just narratives. People don't understand. They think they know, but they don't know. They don't know the difference between an assistant coach and a coach. Well, I suppose they are, because we're all assistant coaches on our couches at the end of the day.
Yeah. Logan Spinks is an option.
We don't get paid a cent to do it.
That's it. Logan Spinks has been an option that's been raised. I think he might have scored 2 tries on the weekend as well in a losing game as the captain of the Cup team. Shoei's asking about Rinat Karaz, how long he's out for.
I'd say 4 to 5 more weeks.
Aki's playing Rugby League 26, and in Marcelo just scored. Oh, that's good for us. Aki. That's all right, mate.
You need to chat to Mars.
Thanks for keeping me company all those hours on the road, mate. So I just ignored you when you fell asleep, mate, to keep myself going. Do we give AJ? Maybe, mate. I don't know how his form is. He's hasn't got his legs yet, mate. He's getting there. Yeah, he did, Timmy.
He played a bit of lock and he played a bit of hooker.
Yep. 30, mate. 30. But yeah, look, mate, you got to name 30 guys.
Some of those 30 are in Jersey flag, mate.
Yep. Patrick Young, etc.
You got to. Well, who are the players? Who are the players that are going to come in, brother? Who are the players that are going to come in? You tell us. You know what all the problems are, but who's going to fix it? Which players? That's what I mean. We are a squad of 30, and when your depth players are behind the 8 ball or been injured or had suspensions, players that you're investing in to develop to come in and become NRL players, because you're filling more of your top 30 with more juniors or more younger players. They've got to be. They can't just come in to save our team. That's when you've given up on your season, guys. We haven't given up. Coaches don't just, Dean Young brought Cade Reid in on the weekend, not because he thinks they're going to save his team, because he's given up. They've already given up on the fucking season. It's gone. We're not giving up on the season, guys. No fucking way should we.
Long way to go, guys. Long way to go.
There's problems. I can see it just as well as anyone else. There's problems with the way that we're playing over 80 minutes. Yes. Is there a big problem in our club? No, there's not. There's just the problems that we have to deal with as being the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. That's one, dealing with some crazies in our fan base. Two, dealing with the issues caused by when under Des, they stopped investing money in our junior system, which has had to be brought back. All these things are hard. Having to have pathways outside the club to come in and navigate that, it's not easy. Do you think there's a reason why some kids come from Queensland, have got all the talent in the world, or come from other areas that don't stay at the Bulldogs? It's not because they're not talented or they're bad people or the Bulldogs are bad. It's because they get homesick. Or things are harder than they thought they were going to be. It's hard. We're not Penrith. We're not Brisbane. We're the Bulldogs. And sorry, we can't just go and buy fucking half a team every time we have a poor season. It doesn't work that way anymore. I don't know if people understand that. It's changed. The game's changed a lot. And, even look at the Roosters. They've got rid of a lot of good players, Gas, but what have they replaced them with? DCE and Robson. I reckon they've got rid of about $6 million worth of cap and only replaced it with about $4.5 million or $4 million. And then you look at South. They've got about $6 million worth of players. It's only costing them $3 million. Fucking ridiculous.
Timmy's reinforcing on Logan Spinks, talking about Lipboy coming onto the bench, maybe, and he's just referencing what you said earlier. Over here, we've got another very educated fella saying Galvin should go out and put Mitchell Woods in. So I'm hoping you're listening to what we said earlier, mate. Woods has not played a game this year, so it's all right. Move on. I think Montoya needs to get some confidence back, put him in cup, regain some form. Hopefully, Tuala will be right for the Cowboys. If not, give Jethro a run. He's in the top 30 for next year. So what's Shoei saying? What did we say? Warriors winger came from Gold Coast. He told his Minnesota Doggies, my best mate was present with him and his manager. Are you talking about Cal Pereira?
Who's that? Cal Pereira.
Yeah. I said to Aki the other day, there's a bloke that I would have loved to have at the Doggies, especially with the speed that he's got. It would be very handy. It just depends on how much money he was asking for, whether it fit into our cap, unfortunately, mate.
And defensively, he's not fucking there. Did you see him watch it on the weekend?
Yep.
But Serrato could turn him into a good defensive player, I'm sure. I wouldn't have minded him either, but we don't know what happens. Warriors might have given him more money, and everyone just thinks, you pay people more, but you might be paying this fella a little bit more and this fella a little bit more, and you can't pay that fella a little bit more. I'll tell you what, it's not a job I'd want. That's for fucking sure.
Defensive issues. Barber couldn't tackle. Barber actually improved his tackling every year he played. He started pulling off some awesome try-savers, guys. That was one of the big focuses, if you remember, on his game that he did, was he worked on his defense, guys. He was only a small man, and some players even now struggle. But he
made numerous try-saving tackles in 2012. It was a big difference in his game. Yes. And they developed that kid over. He played 9 games in 4 years before he played 20 games in 2011, and then won Daily M in 2012. So by the end of that season, he's still played less than. I think he'd only just played 50 NRL games in the 2012 at the end of the 2012 season, if that. So, you know, it takes time to develop real talent, and that's just the reality of it. We come last in 2008. We were able to go and buy 4 or 5 players, luckily. Then went all right 2010, 2011. Started coming good for a while there before completely fucking our junior system and our salary cap and putting us in a hole that
Took us a while to get out of.
would take 20 years to get out of.
Positive, guys. All things positive. Keep moving. We need speed. The game has changed. Youth and speed. Yeah, look, I've said it quite a few times, guys. You know, you can't make up for sometimes in speed. We're very limited on our side of the field, unfortunately, where a lot of teams are scoring on, you know, from length of the field, tries, etc. So it does challenge us. We got some support there. Mr. Incredible.
Okay, Mr. Incredible.
Thanks for your support. What do you think about Bailey being put at 14? I think we just spoke about this one earlier, but I think the 5-day turnaround and the big workload he had against the Eels, I think, you know, the coach had to make a decision. And he liked probably what Turpin delivered when he played previously against Penrith. So it was a decision made basically for the best of the team. And I don't think there was any issues with that. Turpin didn't let anyone down, and Hayward, you know, obviously had a different role because of the injury to Kickout. So things changed around a bit. But so where were we back here? Yeah, Mick is just reinforcing that Woods hasn't played this year, correct? Harry was still going on about DCE and Ben Hunt. I think I'm not sure if there's a lot of money there, mate, for not much time, unfortunately. Even with their experience,
I wouldn't fuck DCE and fuck Ben Hunt. Is all I'm going to say. What Ben Hunt did to the Dragons is inexplicable. The way he took them through options and tried to, you know, say he was going to leave and wanted to release. He did it on his last 2 contracts, and he used the Bulldogs to help himself get more money both times. So I wasn't a big fan of that. Although Gus has got no issue. I think Gus was quite happy to allow our name to be linked to him and all that sort of shit. And then he was always wanting to go back to Brisbane. He's going home, back to his junior club that he loves. And DCE, look, could you imagine if we were 3-3 now, Harry, 3-4, and DCE was in our team? What would be being said right now? And I don't think DCE would fix our problems that we've had right now. I really don't. I've always felt that Kieran Foran was more the 7 than DCE anyway. I've always felt that. Anyway, just my thoughts, brother.
I know the Dragons lost yesterday, but I thought Cade Reid did an okay job, kept trying despite the result at the end.
I like Adam Reynolds, though. I would have got Reynolds kicks goals.
Yeah, and Fogarty wouldn't have been a bad option as well. Hi, guys. Just hopped on. Tomorrow I'll watch from the start. Who do you think will play in the back row?
I think it'll be Curran and Preston.
Mm-hmm. Preston will probably move to the left, guys, like he did last time Kiko was injured. Yeah, that's right. Hayward in some games, there's no... you're still learning, mate. You're still learning. Get behind him.
Get behind the kid, mate. Get behind him. And remember, parents of these kids are watching this show. Would you say this about your own kids? That they're shit? Get with the program.
I will say one thing, guys. The other day, I mean, I haven't seen a replay. I've only watched the game at the game when we were there. But I thought Leo Thompson played for the 49 minutes he played. I thought he played fantastic footy, guys. For a guy playing his second game of the year and with the team, I thought he had a great game. And I thought, both times he got those offloads away, he had at least 2 or 3 players hanging off him, and they were genuine, proper offloads that none of those, not like those kick-out ones sometimes where they come out along the ground, proper offloads that were made a difference. And there was one that we made the break when Critter went down the right side there and nearly scored, and we had that great second phase on the next one as well. But he's going to be a very dangerous player for us, guys. He's only just starting for us. And he showed, he showed on Sunday, on whatever it was, Friday, how damaging he can be when he runs with the ball, and he's still getting himself, and his confidence in the game, guys, because he doesn't want to re-aggravate an injury now. So he's just making sure he goes through. But he's still running hard and he's hitting hard, and he hasn't had support. The unfortunate thing for him, he hasn't got his partner in crime out there with him as well. But I thought Hughes did a great job with him at the start. But having King and Leo together, guys, you'll see a bigger change as well, guys. It'll just keep getting better and better. So it's just a shame so far. We haven't had a chance still to put our best team on the field yet. But Leo, for me, was outstanding, defended well. The offloads were great, everything he did. And he's only going to get better. So, really, really happy with where he's going at the moment. Michael's got his team up there now, guys.
That's the team I think will be picked. Tracy, Sua, Cherry, Crichton. I think Tuala will come back, hopefully. Burton, Galvin, Hughes, Hayward, Thompson, Curran, Preston, Salmon Man, Toop. I think Curran will play right, but I think they'll just swap jerseys with Kickout. Keep Preston in his jersey. Salmon Man, Tupanua, Hopboy, Turpin. If Turpin's not injured, because he went off injured towards the end. O'Sullivan will probably come back onto the bench. Rinikama will be there for cover. If Tuala's not in the side, don't be surprised to see Montoya still there, and give him one more opportunity. If not, I probably would want. If Rinikama comes in, he's more of a left side player though, so Sua would probably go to the right. He's done a fair bit on the right. AJ Jones, Logan Spinks, and potentially a Daniel Saluk for feeder gets to come in on the bench. The fact that you've got Turpin and O'Sullivan there. I think Hayward will start this week after having a bit of a rest last week. They'll get back onto that plan. And as Gaz said, get behind the kid, support him. He's done some good things. He's putting his body on the line, and he's not going to do it all correct, but he's got some game. He's got some good game, and I do not know what off the ground. It's improving. It could be better, but it's not as dire as people make out.
Harry Grant's doing a shit job, isn't he? And he's lost 6 in a row, but he'll still be the first one picked for Origin.
What are all the other comments?
Yeah, mate.
Then on to mate. That's it, Mike.
Yeah, Timmy, long road trip, buddy. It'll be a couple of times this year. All things positive, Bulldogs podcast. Thanks, Timmy. Accentuating the positive.
Thank
Do
you,
what we
James.
can, mate. We've had a long discussion about that already. Maybe if you get the chance, go back and have a look at it from the start. Yep, you can cover yourself there.
Out of form.
Yeah. How about his Chico injury? How long will be out for? Not sure. Haven't heard back yet.
Pec injuries I've not seen fixed in under 10 weeks, guys.
And he had a pretty bad one, I think, in 23. Mick, you posted an article on the death threats uncalled for, and the people responsible should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, I was saying this before. I got a phone call from Lionel Woods at halftime, who would come onto this podcast and had a bit of banter, and he got obsessed with it and started threatening me and stuff while I was in the stands next to my daughter. on a phone call and sending a whole heap of text messages like he's in my head and all that stuff. Well, I don't know. I don't know if someone rings you. I don't know how they're in your head if they're ringing you. But anyway, it's not called for, guys. We put the phone number on there for those who want to support the channel and stuff, and make sure that all the money comes to us because we give back, as you all know. But for people to do that and go and call my number to threaten me and stuff, and just obsessive, childish behaviour. Honestly, who raised that bloke? Honestly, and then getting calls from private numbers, not fucking answering and breathing heavy and shit. Like, it's just ridiculous. My family doesn't need to put up with that shit. I don't give a fuck, right? And I haven't even really told them, but that's disgraceful. All because we support the Bulldogs and because we don't tolerate people talking smack about other people's kids. It's as simple as that. I don't care if they're men. I'm going to say it again. Like, Lucas has just and by the way, just big shout out to Lucas. He's donated the winnings from last week from the Spin the Wheel, the $40 winnings, to my friend Julie's Do It for Dolly Day. Now, Julie's daughter would have turned 14 tomorrow. It's her birthday, and she was a victim of online bullying. Now, I know these guys are men, and I know that. So go read the article, guys. Phil Gould called it out. And look, I think Jean-Claude Bittard was funny a lot of the times. He is a funny guy. He's eccentric, but he's saying a lot of derogatory shit about individuals. And it should be called out by the NRL, because if you really want to stamp out and care and say you care about mental health and have a mental health round and all that sort of shit, and it's the same with the media. Mark Levy come out sticking up for Flano and the fact these guys were smoking cigars and basically taking credit for getting rid of Flanagan and the nepotism and all this shit they were saying. I've said some things about. I don't want a guy running our club who knowingly ran an injection program, but that's fair enough. That's just speaking fact on the public record. I'm not sitting there accusing him of shit that he didn't do or may not have done, or sitting there saying nasty crap or making death threats and all this sort of shit. The fact is that we're allowing an outrage culture to be cultivated, and our kids are being raised to say this is normal. When your team loses, we go and rant about it for every single day and hold every single receipt for every single decision that our team has made and bring that up for the next 65 years until we win a comp again. And whoever gets in our way. And then when we win, we act like we're the best supporters in the world and we're just passionate and that it's freedom of fucking speech. There's no freedom of speech. You go and tell a copper what you think and see how far you get. There's a time and place for everything, right? There's a time and place. And I believe that we just need to just check ourselves a little bit. Look, me and Gaz are similar. We get just as passionate. We couldn't go on Friday night because we would have said some things that we might regret. We might say them to each other. I have chats with people. If you want to tell me some players are shit, you can come and tell me. But on here, let's be respectful and let's make sure that we're not saying things out of turn about other people's children and stuff. Like, look, it's all right to sit there and say you think that Pontoya should be dropped on form and that Salmon isn't doing it for you as a 13 or whatever. That's fine. But allow us the right of reply with respectfully to say why we think they should or shouldn't be in the team as well. All these other fucking podcasts that I'm talking about, and some are good, some aren't, sit there saying that the coach has lost the dressing room. They're going back on everything that Gus Gould has said and done. And it's easy to follow along with that narrative. I know Gould. He loves the game of rugby league, and he does have some unfinished business of the Bulldogs. And some of us probably love the Bulldogs more than Gus. I'm not doubting that. But he wants us to succeed because the Bulldogs need to succeed in NRL, just like the Dragons need to do better, just like Manly need to be healthy, just like Parramatta need to do well, just like we need Campbelltown, Wests, all these fucking teams. But guess what? They can't all play in a grand final every year. Someone's got to miss out. Let's just keep some perspective, keep it in our pants a little bit, and make sure we're continuing to support this great club. Peter Mortimer, Joe Thomas, they're on our board, guys. They know how to run businesses, and they also know how to know a little bit about rugby league. And if you think those guys just sit there and say to Gus, yeah, you can sign that player, you can do this, you can do that, without them sort of having any oversight on it, you're totally undervaluing their contribution to what they do. Look, Gus's job is to do their job, and Gus has got people employed to do jobs they've got to do. And if they don't do them well, they'll be moved on, including Gus.
Is that Claude?
He'll get Claude to do his job soon, right? Claude will actually hire and fire everyone.
That's it, guys.
But the board's job is to make sure the governance of the club is done properly and everything's ratified the right way. And for people to act like their only role is to sit there and get on their knees and say, yes, Gus, what do you want me to do now, Gus? You're just absolutely in a fucking fantasy world. Love him or hate him, it doesn't matter. He's good at what he does, and we're building something for long term, not for, let's get Des back in here and sign fucking whoever, you know? God.
Let's keep going, mate. Let's keep going. Timmy, yes, mate. I'll be there on Friday night, mate. So I'll see you out there. And don't forget that Friday night's game, we are the early game, guys. For those who are coming, we're the 6 o'clock game on Friday. So make sure you sort yourselves out, get out there. Meeting in person. Yeah, it went well. No surprises. We got a little, where are we there? Caught up with the banner, said hello. All good. Had some dinner before the game, guys, and went to the game and walked the 500 kilometers from the parking to the game. But yeah, guys.
Well, I needed to walk anyway, guys.
It was good. It was good, guys. Look. No surprises, guys. We've seen each other, spoken enough, so it was always good. So hopefully a few more meetings this year as well. Let's see how we go.
I know you can't say the same about me, but you're much better looking in person, Gas.
Discipline is even worse with penalties and 6 again. Yeah, penalties have been killing us as well, guys. And even we copped 2 sin bins, guys. We played that, game. We copped a few sin bins or whatever it was. And we know Harry going off, guys. That's just 1 sin bin for us, 1 for them. But that was pretty poor. What do you got there?
That? It says 240,000 steps I've done in April.
There you go, mate. Well done.
It's a lot.
Harder to enjoy the game when your team is struggling. Round of footy was horrible. The slight adaptation of the rules killing the game. Yeah, look, and I think
I'm not enjoying it as much, mate.
We've been one of the teams that hasn't really adapted as much for some reason, which is surprising because it normally suits us as a fitter team. But I feel
I think we're fitter at the moment.
Yeah, I think so far as well. I think the last 2 weeks I've noticed a slight sort of change in the rules, the way they've interpreted them. I haven't seen as many of those 6 agains. I think if you look at the average over the last 2 weeks against the first 6, you'll see that it's a little bit of a drop off so far. Teams have gone backwards. There's a problem. Seraldo needs to fix it. Look, Craig Bellamy, finished in the grand final last 2 years and he's lost 6 in a row, coming second last. Ricky Stewart, finished in the top 4 last year as well. Down there, 3rd or 4th last. Minor premiers. Yep, and then now down the bottom. So, guys, it changes very fast, but everyone has their ups and downs, and you just got to keep persisting, guys. That's how rugby league is, guys. It's a slow start, but I will say it, and I'll say it again. It's only round 8, and I would much rather be 3 and 4 now than have this form coming into potential finals later in the year. So let's hope we get it sorted in the middle of the year, start pulling ourselves up, and then come end of the year, we start to play well and peak for the business end. That's all I'm saying. The round of footy was horrible. So many of blowout scores, 80 points. The Sharks and Cowboys didn't get any better throughout the weekend. Yeah, I mean, look, imagine still, like we said, imagine being a Dragon supporter, guys. Just when you thought it was maybe going to get better, 62 points is still depends on the situation of the game, Timmy. Sometimes if you've got the 50-50 option to get the ball back. But I feel like Berto has been one of the best ones to put that high ball up and get our players under it. But he missed a couple lately, and it's now just played on his confidence a bit. He hasn't really executed it as well as he wants to. So a couple of times he has gone long. So it's not a bad option. Fifth tackle option is another problem. Galvin's kick's not giving the chasers time. Berto needs
to talk about that. There has to be an injury, man.
Yeah.
There's an injury for sure. Look, he did his hamstring earlier. It's about managing fatigue.
Do you think our boys are overcoached in attack? It seems when they have to play catch up and spin it, we come close to scoring. Maybe the attacking coach just let them off the leash. Maybe, Andy. That's why I said earlier, mate, maybe we just need to start playing that way from the start. But to be honest with you, the way we played against Penrith, we actually did that. Like I mentioned it at the time, Max King got an offload away in our first set of the game. So that showed that intent. And now I always look for that in a game to see what they're trying to do, what's the intent of the way they're playing. And that game, they just had something and they were just on, and it just looked good against quality opposition guys. So the Manman Wilson try shouldn't have been awarded. The refs need glasses. I agree, Timmy. Both were very, very, very suspect, mate. Take 12 points away. We get game changes, mate. Game changes. It's always the way for us. Certain refs should be the tears, yes. I think Wells has put us on his calendar ever since we beat them after his injury, 12. I
agree, Brian.
Yeah, mate, and he's a great player, mate. Even to this day, I'm sure the people at the Rabbitohs are still regretting not making it work for him to keep him there. So, especially after what happened last year, guys, winning the comp. Yes, we agree, mate. What do you got, Timmy? There was a knock-on in the Dragons-Roosters game. Yes, there was a big knock-on there by, I think it was Connor Watson off memory.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and look, they're still, and look, there used to be times when they used to be getting it, a word in the year, but now they stopped that. So, yeah, it's tough, mate. Players can have errors, so can the refs, yeah, but you've got 3 of them out there and you've got others. It's just you expect to be a little bit better.
I think it's still a good message. Everybody's fucking human.
That's right. Everyone wants juniors elevated. Be cautious bringing juniors up if they aren't contract for a while. You're basically putting them on show for the Bears and Chiefs.
There is that as well, Adrian. And I know I've done a lot of features on juniors and stuff, and I don't actually think it's highly appreciated for that reason. Just saying.
Yep. Shoei's saying, yep, that's his point on Barber. We can teach them like we did with Barber. And look, Saralla's got a great system. So those of you who learn under him and want to learn, you become a better defender. Remember in 2012 against South, Barber made a try-saving tackle on Sam Burgess in the corner at Acor. Yes, he did, mate. Great try-saver. I'm sure that would have had you in tears, buddy. If you go for the dollars every time you'd be broke. Gus should take out gout for Chinese. Yeah, well, it's been done before, mate. Shane Werrett, if you remember. Why didn't we go for Osako, make a good winger, almost guaranteed 2 points with his boot? Yeah.
I don't know. We went for Jacob Carraz and
Yeah.
Bronson Cherry.
Show me the money, mate. Show me the money. We'll get behind everyone but Curran. We dropped him last year because of his errors. We didn't re-sign him. Let's blood another back rower. Let's see what happens, mate. If he plays this week, if he does.
Whoever's in the, you got to get behind whoever's out there, mate. There's no point saying I won't get behind a player and just hating them. It's your choice. You do you, mate. But fuck me. What?
Heinzie, we need big bodies on the bench. I hope we debut Jones. When he's ready, mate, we'll definitely get him on there, mate. He's been shown that he's going to be a player that's going to start this year. So
we can't wait for AJ, mate. We cannot wait for AJ. He's just not.
Ask Kate Reid about AJ. He doesn't remember.
Yet.
Ask Kate Reid. He doesn't remember much about that game, but he knows who AJ is. There's a tattoo on his back of of AJ's forearm. I think Birdo's injury in his foot or ankle was just might explain why he isn't kicking and played.
Good shout, David.
Yep. What do we got here?
Tactic too.
Just join. Not sure if you've mentioned it, but Toya has got to be dropped. He's not first going till. Sure, we got a good winger. Go to the start and watch it. You can have a listen. Just a player who's out of form, and the team that we just named, he wasn't in that at the moment. Congrats to the Bulldogs getting into the grand final.
Maybe we've got some speed in the girls that can come into NRL for the boys.
Yeah. Did everyone see that kick from out wide to win the game? There was another Aaron Woods moment in that celebration as well. One of the girls missed her timing, came in for the big jump and just kept going straight over the top like Superman. Or Superwoman, whatever you want to call it, but it was pretty funny. But awesome job for them to get in the grand final. Timmy, you can update us. Timmy, where are they playing the grand final next week, mate? Bulldogs, yes, tough game this week. We'll go into obviously a review of that on Team List Tuesday.
We'll be there. I'll be there, mate.
Dolphins game at Suncorp, May, then Titans on the 26th. Couple of local games for us to enjoy.
So the Titans game, we go park at Rabin and then walk across. This is what we normally do. I'm
just trying to get my legs back after the long drive, guys. But yep, sounds like a plan. Tickets are all ready. Everyone always cries out for local juniors. Halves probably our hardest working one on the improve, and some of our stupid supporters want to crucify him. 100%, Brian. Mate, they're unfortunately, Brian, not everyone sees it the way we see it. Everybody looking for the now, mate. The results now. They look at a player and they want him to play like the best hooker out there. Everybody has to run like Apicorosia. Everyone has to dummy or throw passes like, Grant. It's Everyone's got a player in their team that they cherish and love, and we got to get the best out of them, and so do we, guys.
Could you imagine that? There's these blokes. I'm a bit dirty on a bloke, right? And I was talking about it at the start, but I've watched his videos every week since probably 2020 or something, 2019. If we go 2 losses in a row, he talks about every bad decision or signing that's been made, every fucking thing. In a 10 or 12 minutes, he talks about every bad fucking thing that's ever been done. He attacks the board. He attacks Phil Gould. He attacks fucking certain individuals that we let go and ones that we kept. He then brings up Peter fucking Moore and thinks he can talk on behalf of Bullfrog and says that Bullfrog didn't want Phil Gould anywhere near our club, which is a load of bullshit. Phil Gould, and this is just a history for some people, Phil Gould was never going to be coaching at the Bulldogs, but Peter Moore asked him to do the job because Chris Anderson was contracted in England and he was just waiting for him to come over to be the next coach of the Bulldogs, right? So Gould did the job and won a comp. And then he went to all these other clubs and he was never, ever had any intention of coming back. He didn't need to. And then he tried to make out that the that Lynn Anderson that didn't want Gould at the club, which is also bullshit. Right? Now, I know Gould said some stuff in the media and it looked like he might have been backing the Roosters ahead of Bulldogs in games, but he knows the Bulldogs, man. Look, I remember that game we lost where Jamie Soward cheated. The whole game, Gould said through that whole fucking commentary, this is a game the Bulldogs, this is the type of game the Bulldogs will come back and win. You watch. You watch. They're not out of this, the Dogs. The Dragons have been all over them. It's got Bulldogs DNA all over it. And then the fucking referee stole it from us.
That was bullshit.
Utter bullshit.
That still hurts to now.
Gould loves rugby league. He loves good players. Whether I don't love everything he says, 100% don't. I disagree on so much of it.
You don't think everything he says is creamy?
Oh, cringy, mate. And he's becoming one of those old men with dad jokes and shit, right? But
he's just, I think he's just messing with
he's
Claude.
the first person to work every day and the last person to fucking leave, guys.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
And he's still working at 3 a.m, sending people stuff, checking things, reviewing his own job, caring about the game of rugby league. Like, love him or fucking hate him. How do we link it straight? A loss on Friday against the Broncos side. How do we link that back to everything that's fucking happened over the last 5 years and every decision we've made? But one fucking loss and then last week's loss. And then tell me, how do you forget about the Penrith game in the middle of that and the 2 wins to start the fucking season?
Doesn't suit their narrative, mate. Come on.
No. People have to blame someone. People have to scapegoat someone because they're fucking flawed individuals and they need to look at themselves, right? Look at yourself first before you start fucking flipping it at everything out of your control and every bad decision that's ever happened. Imagine if it's funny, and a lot of people like that, you know, have no sympathy for minorities and have no sympathy for people who are maybe play victim a little bit. I know that you need to be accountable to what you do, but each to their own, right? I'm no victim. But if you're going to sit there and just continually relate every fucking game, how about we just say the team and some of the players were just out of form and they didn't execute? And then when we get to the end of the season, maybe it might be a really bad season, guys. And then you say, okay, that didn't work. That mix of coaches didn't work this year. They need to fix whatever they're doing. And I know a lot of you are afraid of the trajectory because we're not where you wanted us to be or expected us to be. In my opinion, as I've always said, the pathway to success is never a linear, straight fucking line. It's like this. Goes up and down. Look at the Broncos. No one thought they were going to win the comp last year. I said at the start of the year there would be a big chance. What did the Kennel podcast say? That they wouldn't make the 8. That they're shit. They're hopeless. Now, everyone gets tips wrong. I get it. But it's this completely underselling of our opposition when we win a few games, especially when I go back to our games last year and go, that Newcastle game, we beat the Dragons 28-20 in round 1, and it looked like we dominated them. We only beat Knights by 20-0. It looked like we dominated them. You know, we beat Parramatta 16-8 and never really felt threatened by them. Everything was hard work. Even the Titans game, we looked like we're on fire, but an injury to Burton, next minute they look like they're going to come back and beat us. Then we have to beat them again. What's the old thing that we're sick of doing, Gas? Sick of having to win the game twice. So many times. 2-0 we led Newcastle last year. Yet somehow that means we're invincible and we should be beating all these teams. You know, we've come here and being cocky as well, you know. How long have we had teams in the bin for? Who are we starting to get some regular dominance over? Yeah, we have been. We've been doing that. We've been backing up stacking up some wins against some teams, which we really needed to do as a club for our own confidence and belief. But that's not taken for granted either. You know what I mean? You know, it's something that we just have to, you know, they're now hunting us, as we keep saying. We've got to go out there and hunt the Cowboys. They're always a tough game for us. Always.
Yeah.
Always in the balance. It's never a big blowout.
And they're playing
especially
well.
for us.
They're playing well at the moment too.
Yeah, everyone, including me, was prepared to sack Todd Payton. Well, what have they won? 4 or 5 in a row? Maybe Reid Marnie is what they needed, which is why they wanted to get him so quickly. And they did. Yeah, he made it all about we didn't want him, which is all bullshit.
That's right. I love Nev. Understand fans' frustration. Still early. We need to get behind the boys, even if they're down on confidence. We, the fans, will give them confidence. Well said. Nice one. At the end of the day, it's just a game of footy. No threats needed. That's right. Mate, they're talking about the threats you got. You don't deserve that. And Timmy was saying, thank you to Lucas.
I actually said on this YouTube channel, I said to him, I remember I said something like, oh, you wouldn't say, if we were in each other's presence, you wouldn't say it like that to my face. You'd be a lot more humble. And he took that as I'd smack his face in. No, I'm just talking about people who are generally a lot more fucking, humble in each other's presence. It's just natural. And if they're not, they're fucking mental.
Yeah, Timmy's thanking Lucas for his donation to the charity.
Thank you.
Passionate Beloved Dogs, when we're hurting, the club is hurting after a loss as well. That's right.
G'day, no one's Pete. Hurting more than the players, guys.
That's it. G'day, Pete. They'll be close to the starting side. Choosing Tuala Montoya makes sense if he's fit. We have a backbone in yardage. Our meaning King Karaz and Shiraz, Kick Shiraz will be a good game at home. That's it, mate. That's it. Always, mate. No, mate.
That's it, James.
JC goes overboard, prefers anyway. He's hilarious. Yeah. Tough for those guys, mate. I don't even know where their next win's going to come from as well. So it's not easy at the moment for them. We can't score tries. Get in there, mate. We're getting there. Keep the faith. Look.
From all AI, Claude is by far the best. I use it in a professional manner every day. Now, my son told me that Adam Drewisi doesn't own Claude or hasn't in developing it, but I'm pretty sure he is.
I know.
Self-made millionaire.
The New Jersey. Yeah, no worries, Timmy. I'll see you there, buddy. Come and see me, mate, in the same spot. I'll be there. Yeah, and we should have still been 12-6, mate, or that second half. That was a shit try they gave at the end there.
Oh, both tries weren't tries.
Yeah, I know. Shit. We can get up the field, but can't get over the line. So what are we doing wrong?
Just not setting it up, guys. Just not having the confidence. We're not. As I said, you got to. If we just shift wide off a slow play the ball, you're rarely going to score. There has to be you have to get the defensive line retreating. And when we do that, we punish sides. Making that happen has been a challenge at times for our team. We did it very well against the Panthers. But it takes everyone running a lot of supports and running a lot when like running decoys, running supports when they're not going to get the ball, just in the hope or belief that they are going to get the ball. And when you do that, that creates hesitancy in the opposition. But the offload threat's a big thing. If they think that you can offload and you're going to pass, numbers don't get in on your tackle, which means you get away quicker, play the balls, which means you can punish sides. That didn't happen. I still felt our tries were pretty good at the end. Man shows by Craven back in field. He's got the footwork to make things happen. But Matt Burton showed why he is that class player in our team, although I feel he struggled a lot lately. The way he still is a threat every time he's got the ball, and the way that he hunted that try line, no one was going to stop him.
Yeah.
And then Galvin scores that good try. Bailey Hayward's useless apparently, but he holds up a pass just the right time to get that player out of the line to get Galvin through the gap without a hand on him. Like, that was a great ball.
And showed some good speed there as well. Never looked like
speed of delivery.
Couldn't stop him as well, the way Galvin took it on as well. If we had scored in the first 10, it's a different game. Happened versus Newcastle. I was there in the early intensity on line speed, bending them back. Look, it's just the way it is sometimes. We need to, like it worked against Penrith, but we just need to do that more often, guys. We need to get that confidence up and make that, get into that routine of executing our plays a bit better. But like Michael said, a lot of things have to contribute towards that. And if they're building towards that and they're not right yet, then it's not going to happen all the time. So Brian makes a very good point. Everyone's saying that we're too structured. We need to play what's in front of us. Do people really think that if a footy player sees an opportunity in front of them, they're not going to go for it?
Yep, very good point, Brian.
It's very true, guys. Like, these are all professional athletes, guys, at the end of the day. They're players that we all look at them and we all aspire and just, we're watching them because it's a lot of the times we're not them. So they're doing the best they can, and it's not always, easy to do. So there's a lot of challenges involved. But like Brian said, if there's opportunities there, guys, they're going to take it. If Critter is injured, not 100%, he shouldn't play because we need him late in the season. If they feel like they're ready, guys, depending on the injury, they're going to have a go, guys. And sometimes, it might take him a week or two to get himself right. But, especially when you're down on troops as well, we've lost, Karaz and Ari. So you're going to make that decision, guys. Thanks, guys, for being the voices of reason. Thanks for the calming session. Yes,
our pleasure, brother.
We can be like the goats on what's the
all things positive.
Ferdinand the Bull when he's got the calming goat, guys. What do you got? Get your fingers off, mate. Noticing that in try-line defence, individuals are trying to solve issues by themselves and not inside work to get across.
It's been a bit of that.
Look, guys. Yeah, that's right.
Kickout's generally very good at that, but I felt that he carried that injury for 10 minutes, which cost us the second try for sure. He was a liability out there. You could see it.
No, he didn't, mate. I was at Belmore that day, mate, and I think they're just still picking him up now, mate. I'm surprised he made it to Allianz the other day.
And that held AJ back. He got
2 weeks.
A 2-week suspension because he fought it at the judiciary.
Yeah, so he doesn't have to pay the fine, guys. Not much money for those guys at that age.
It was a $2,500 fine or
an extra
2
week
weeks if he got it wrong. So fucked.
Still remember when Matty Johns had the Aaron Woods at training, teaching him how to celebrate a try. Yeah. I don't like how our club gasket go so many juniors like Averillo and Alamonte.
As I said, guys, Averillo, 450 grand. They got Cherry on unders. They were bringing in Critter. Something has to give. And Alamonte paid him a lot of money. His manager wanted, and himself had a meeting with Todd Payton after 3 rounds, apparently, and said that the Cowboys, and there was a release that the Cowboys were going to offer him a 4-year deal for $600,000 a season. After that, his whole season went pear-shaped. He was forced out in the wing after an early, I think we lost a winger in the South game, and then it was going good till that happened. And then we had a sin bin as well, and he had to play wing and got absolutely terrorised. And then the whole fan base turned on him anyway, mate. To be honest, everyone was saying how he was slow, how he's slow, he's not fast, he's a slow coach, he's no good. And Penrith got him on a 1-year cheap deal, and his career's obviously taken off in a great system with great players around him, and he's a talented kid.
That's it.
But we couldn't keep him. So instead of just saying the club shouldn't have let these players go, find out the fucking back. Or if you've watched our show, you would have seen talked about it so many times. I feel like I'm a regurgitating parrot half the time.
Maybe we should record these, mate. Every time someone mentions it, we'll just press play, mate, on one of the previous recordings. Or we'll just
Episode
reference
17.
Or we'll just exactly reference the episode. That's it. All the grand finals next week for the ball, Mats and Go. We'll all be at Leichhardt. All the semis bar one we played there. Thanks for that, Bulldog Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Timmy saying the same thing. Leichhardt, not sure it's been made official yet. Hopefully by Tuesday, guys, we'll have some timings and stuff like that as well. So if anyone wants to go out there. Cowboys have won 4 of the last 5, and we won the last one. It was a tough one in Cowboys land last year when Inari Tawala put Jethro away, if you remember.
It was a great try. Great fucking try that was. And we were so depleted in that game too, guys. Galvin actually had a rest because Cherry had to play on one leg before surgery. Montoya, I think, had just come out the week before, maybe. Or did he play? I'm not sure. But he was broken as well. Needed surgery.
We've got a change of Gecko Fox has now become the British Bulldog 1935.
There you go.
Goes down.
Hey, boy. My dad was born in 35 and my mum was born in 1938.
There you go. So one was in the start of the first game and one was the first premiership. There you go.
Actually saw a British Bulldog today, brother. At the dog park, so my little dog wouldn't go near it. Yeah, we were saying that, Shoey, if he does get a go, it might have something to do with the fact that he's got that thing with Montoya. But I just saw a post that Danny Wheeler, I think, did on Friday, saying that Montoya was sharing the captaincy in response to people saying he should be dropped or something. I thought it was a weird article. A weird tweet from Danny. Yeah,
and he was he done another one about Tigers, Luai going to Papua New Guinea as well.
Yeah.
So because he's got till April 30 this year to make a decision in his contract. Fans always demand effort, loyalty, passion, etc. Then when things aren't going right, they want blood and sack everyone real fast.
That's it.
Yeah. It's tough, mate. It's a business, but people, they want everything now. It's just you give them a little bit, and then it means that Panthers win that we gave them is now making them explode even more. They're like, well, we know you can do it. Why aren't you doing it? So that's
it.
Guys. Yeah,
it's funny though. Like all the ones that we let go, we should have been loyal to them, but we shouldn't be loyal to the ones that have helped get us to the finals the last 2 years. Just throw them out,
That's it. Sua is a beast. Played really good. Maybe in front of for Montoya. Who knows, mate? Let's see how we go. Mentioning the goats, sting with the screaming ones from Thor.
Lockie up. Let's go.
G'day, Lockie. Must win next week, no matter how we play next week. That's it. No matter how we go, mate, we got to get a win out of that game. So, yeah, mate, I'll be seeing you on Friday, buddy, as usual.
Let's go next one.
sitting in the kennel. Kind of Greg Critter seemed like maybe he has come back too early. Maybe think the screaming, everything needs to happen now. Crowd, the players all feel the pressure. Yeah, look, it's not easy, guys. Critter puts a lot of pressure on himself to deliver, to be that, that main man and everything else. So obviously, watching the Bulldogs play against the Panthers and he wasn't there and they did the job, he would have felt like he wants to come out and contribute. But, it wasn't his best game out there, like he knows. And, he'll go out and work on his game and come back. But, he showed some good touches late in the game and everything. But, it just happens, guys. We can't all have our best game every week. It just happens to even the best of them. But consistency, guys, that's what we're looking for.
Their name handles are almost identical. And it really messes me around because DQ's 7SI is very positive, whereas DS7UG is very negative. And something like it's like, ugh.
Right. G'day, mate. Looking forward to mate. I do apologise the other day, mate. I meant to message you when we got to the Combank. I mentioned it on Tuesday as well. I didn't get around to doing that, mate. Timmy was messaging, mate, and he lost track of time, mate. So if you're out at Acor on Friday, mate, come and say hello, buddy, in the kennel. Timmy, sorry, I meant Cowboys' current win-loss record. Yes, mate. They have won 4 out of the last 5. No worries, mate. Up the mighty doggies, yeah. Thanks, Huey.
That's it, brother. All right, guys. I was going to go through some stats. We lost in Jersey Flag. Pretty flat performance. I was watching them. They look very tired and flat. I better not say stuff like that because people say we're overtrained and shit. New South Wales Cup. There was some good moments, good passages, but just beaten by what looked a more cohesive team performance in the Sharks, who have been developing their juniors very well for quite a while. But we had a win in Ron Massey, which is the 3rd win of the season, beat Wenty, which they haven't had too many wins over Wenty in a very long time. So 3 wins, 2 losses to start the season for our Ron Massey Cup side. That's the best start to a season they've ever had since coming back into the competition. And there's quite a bit of depth in there, and good to see a few of the SG ball guys playing in there as well. And some of the Jersey Flag players that are sort of in or out of that side. A couple of New South Wales Cup players. Louis Grissemi scored another good try. And some really good play there. So, guys, a few of you are now depositing monthly via my Pay ID, which I really appreciate. Unfortunately, when I put that number up, it was abused by some people, but that's all right. The police will be involved if they continue, and I just block their numbers, and that's a bit hard when they're private numbers. But yeah. Anyway, guys, that's just one of the things that happens when you're a big celebrity like Gaz and I. Everyone wants a piece of you, and I know how some of those celebrities feel now, mate.
Yeah.
Went all right, buddy. Obviously, Willie Mason, he goes all right. Young kids, it's a good way for them to play against some hardened, tough men, and a great way to toughen them up. I reckon Wayne Bennett would approve. I was going to do a poll to say what would the world be like if the Penrith board or the owner of the Panthers said that he wanted Wayne Bennett to come, which Phil Gould had arranged, and they didn't bring Ivan Cleary back to the club. Do you think that Penrith would have won premierships? I was going to do something like that as a poll, I think it's probably so many hypotheticals in it, obviously, but it would have been interesting to see if Ivan stayed at the Tigers and if Nathan then left the Panthers to go to the Tigers with Wayne Bennett coming as a coach. Just be interesting to see what would have happened, because apparently that's what had happened, So anyway.
Well, there's no Thursday game this week.
Oh, isn't there?
No Thursday game. So we're the first game this week on the Friday.
Yep.
So
we'll have our keys to victory. I'll be watching a few Cowboys games. They're starting to get a little bit better, and the keys to victory, they were a bit cookie cutter to start.
I can guarantee one thing though. I bet you the Dragons will get the 2 points next week, guys.
They got that bye person.
Yeah, Dean Young's come at the right time. I think he'll bank the 2 points next week.
I think David Swartz has reposted something he said earlier. Yeah, we did cover that, David. Really good comment, mate. Really good comment. Hilly, I back this whole team's current roster effort. Canterbury Bankstown all the way. Just need a halfback. Yeah, look, we need to keep developing our halfbacks. That's right. And we've got a great halfbacks academy. That's why there's a lot of good ones in our system. They just need time. And sometimes you just don't know if they're going to be able to turn from that halfback that can compete and do well in New South Wales Cup or go to the next level. And there's plenty of players that have had to leave our system that aren't going to play NRL. And the few that do, like Ryan Gray, I think South's had 20 injuries last year or something. That's why he got to play. He played in a SG Ball Grand Final with Avarillo and everybody else. Great to see him get a crack at NRL and live his dream. But is Ryan Gray still at South? Don't think so.
No.
Brian says if there's anyone who can lose the bye, it's the Dragons. JC can have a statement. Yeah, brother, we love the Dogs, bro. Good shout out to you, bro. Aussie John. What went wrong with the Bulldogs again? The Brisbane Broncos. Watch it, bro. Yeah, David's repeated again. Oh, is your brother, is he? Shout out to you, Hilly. I hope you're a better bloke than Harry. Maybe you and Hilly should go out.
Harry and
meet
Hillel.
players.
Harry and Hillel.
Hilly and Harry. Yeah, well, that's it. Mike's brought up a good one. If we do win three of the next three games, Cronulla, Dolphins, Cowboys, like if we're gonna play finals, we have to beat those sort of sides. It's as simple as that. Look, I know we should be beating undermanned Parramatta and Brisbane as well, but or we're at least got to get our game back on track, compete hard, win one or two or go close, and then bank some points against some other sides after that. Like, to me, we make the top 8 from here. That's all good. Want to make the top 4, obviously, get 2 bites at the cherry, hopefully have players fit and ready to go at that time of year. Who knows, we can do something. Sometimes you just get on that run of form, but it's too early to be talking about all of that. The next 3 games are a really important block for the side, and they've shown they can turn around some bad performances into good ones. We said they played well against South. So I thought there was an improvement on Friday from the Para game, as they needed to be, but even still, it was nowhere near good enough. We'll need to improve again to beat the Cowboys or give ourselves a chance. We'll have some previews coming up on Tuesday and probably on Thursday as well. So lots of content, guys. Keep sticking up for the boys. It's easy to go out there, as I say, and just talk smack about players and the coach, and if that makes you feel better, great. Maybe just send it in private messages rather than on the public record.
Harry's asking, mate, do you think Montoya will play with the heat surrounding him and Marnie?
If I was coaching both sides, I would be dropping Montoya for that reason, because I think it'll put added pressure, and he feels like he's feeling that a little bit. I felt coming back to the club would have been high pressure for Montoya. He dealt with it really well last year. This year it's been a thorn in the side. And if I'm coaching if I'm Todd Payton, I'm not starting Marnie. I think if they start Reid Marnie, we're a good chance of getting under his skin and getting them off track, because he's got a history of failing against his former clubs. Like the Parramatta boys just got under his skin, man. The first 2 times we played them with Marnie, like they made him, I think I remember like there was one game they knocked the ball out of his hands at dummy half like 3 times, and then he made knock-ons and shit. And he is that emotional type. So, but that's what I would do. I think if he starts, there may be some overkill from Reid, and that'll be the challenge for him. But he should be experienced enough to do well. As I said, Montoya, it's a flick of the coin for me. You put him out there, and give him a chance to redeem himself, or you sort of say, look, we would have loved for you to have retribution against Marnie. You're not the only player who's had mistakes and stuff, but there has been some individual errors that have been costly. And I think he would know that. I think his players would know that, and his coach would know that. But if they back him again, good on them. You can only trust who you trust, and you can only back who you can back. And if they don't feel that the other guys are ready right now to bring in, maybe another week won't harm us too much, unless we lose by 50 and we're back here next week trying to make you guys feel better. David, there are comments that are coming from Facebook and stuff like that as well, bro. So, and Instagram and whatever else.
Yeah. We've had a lot of people on today, guys. I mean, you won't see it sometimes on your side, but we've had almost close to 100 people at times across all the different channels. So
I think if Tua's finished, you get the nod over Montoya, but I'll back whoever they pick. That's it, Brian. I put my team up there. I think Anari to the wing, with Sua and Critter and Cherry in the centres keeps us fit and firing. And there
you go, Harry. We caught up, mate.
There's Gaz with the legend himself. It was great meeting Andy. It was great meeting Macca. It was great meeting Benny. It was great meeting Gaz and Aki. And my daughter was there as well. She said that Gaz and Aki were very beautiful people.
Mick had the intimidation factor, mate. He definitely had me covered there, mate.
Yeah. Oh, mate, this belly. If you just took me legs and stuff, I'm all right. It's all muscle, but above that, it's all fat. All right, let's get cranking, guys. I was going to go through all the stats and that, but I will tell you, Sam Hughes had the longest minutes he's played, I think, and made about 140 metres with the footy from 15 runs. Hardly missed a tackle. Salmon had 138 metres or something like that, 13 runs, 40 tackles. Critter made 145 metres. The other podcast tried to say that he hasn't been touching the fucking ball or some shit. Anyway, so lots of effort stuff there. There's even Salmon had a tackle break. So Thompson had a few. Birdo had 1 or 2. There was some effort stuff there. Montoya had 3, I think. His second half was better, especially out of yardage. But Sua actually was giving him a good platform to run off, which was nice to see. That 1-2 punch out of yardage. All the guys. Look, that was the best missed tackles we've had in, I think, 2 years as well. I think we missed 23 or 24 tackles. The Broncos about the same. Unfortunately, we had some clean misreads and stuff, or where they just went through us and around us, which don't count as missed tackles. So we probably rather miss a few more and not concede any line breaks. Who had the biggest biceps? Well, fucking look at that shit, mate. Look at that. Just goes. No, I've got girl hands, mate. Too much keyboard shit.
I just deafened myself there, mate, and broke my own wrist. Punched that hard.
Get back into the
the poll, Brian, just asking, mate, if you're feeling better, say number 1 after this podcast. If you're not feeling better after this podcast about the game, then number 2. So it's 100% so far. Everyone's on number 1 so far, guys.
I think Scotty Drinkwater, for them, it's a good signing. It's about his market value, but I don't think if we got a player like that for 6 or 7 for about $700,000, I'd be okay with it as a stopgap. But he gets injured a fair bit, and defensively, sometimes he just has zero effort, from what I see. Very disappointing in defence sometimes, just not there. Really good bloke, though, from what I've heard. I got the bigger foot, bro. What size are you, Gaz? I'm a 14.
Depends on the size. Usually 12 or 13. Depends on the shoes.
I'm a 14.
Yeah.
14 Brooks, 13 New Balance. You know what that means, guys. Got you covered, Gaz.
That's all right, mate. That's all right. You know what they say about arrows, mate? Don't worry, mate. Got you covered. Anyway.
I think the ladies' lighty is a bit anyway, but they're just saying. Asics on top. That's it.
That's it.
I love Asics too, but I got me foot measured at Athlete's Foot. You can sponsor me, guys, if you want. And they suggested Brooks and New Balance were better for my foot shape and stuff, and it actually is. Just saying. Go get your feet measured, guys. Helps out.
Get a good pair of Kayanos, mate. Yeah, it's really good.
I've got a pair of them I've got a pair of Kayanos as well.
Really good for the running and walking and stuff. So
nice, firm. Yeah.
State of Origin this week, guys. That's why Thursday night Origin is on Thursday night. So that's at McDonald Jones, I think, in Newcastle, isn't it? Game 1. So interesting way, obviously, the women do it, where they start off before their season. We did have a bad run in 95, similar this year. We turned it around. Yeah,
we didn't beat a top 8. We didn't beat a top. I think we beat one top 8 team all season till the finals.
And we lost 4 of our best players during that year as well. Signed the following year. They were there, but they were signed the following year. So it was a disruptive year, because that wasn't very common at the time when you lost players in that year, signed for the next year. So there was big news about those 4 players. So
it was a big struggle between ARL and Super League. See,
correct.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I actually supported Parramatta in the ARL competition and the Bulldogs in the Super League, because I was just following Dean Page, Jim Smith, Jim Dimmick, and what's his name, Jared McCracken. The four Bulldogs. The four Bulldogs.
The only season we were ever called the Sydney Bulldogs, guys. 1 premiership, 1 from 1, guys. 100% strike rate.
Let's change ourselves to the
Sydney Bulldogs
All
for 1
things
year.
Bulldogs. The all things Bulldogs.
That's it.
Brian says Walken's overrated. Oh, that's hilarious, brother.
Just
Harry, Chris
keep
Anderson
rolling,
took them
Brian.
all out for a beer, mate. Took them all out for a beer. That's how
Yeah.
simple it was. There's
Yeah.
a lot of infighting because they were leaving and stuff, and they all went out of beer and sorted it out, and
Dimmick, Smith, Pay McCracken.
that's it.
Yep.
Andy's got one more there.
Friday night is important. A win will keep us in the race, keep us 4-4. Sort of after 9 rounds, it'll be mid-pack guys. It'll be on the fringe of the 8, but it's still a good place. So early in the season, yeah, probably had the cranberry juice, mate.
The bloody halal beer, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, it's good stuff. 95, my first year really following the sport. We'll never forget. Yeah, I loved it. 95, sitting in there in Bucker Heads. Girlfriend was a Manly fan. Or the girl I liked, I should say. She wasn't my girlfriend. Anyway, long story. When's Max King back? Broken jaw. I'm thinking 4 weeks.
Mm.
So maybe in 2 weeks' time, maybe in 3 weeks' time. But
Maybe Magic
Max
Round,
King
good thing.
comes back early usually. He's the one player who just gets himself right. He's like Max King. He's been seen walking around in a moon boot 2 days before a game and then played. You know, he's tough as nails. Tough as.
Brian's saying that YouTube didn't notify him tonight. Did you send something out, or did you do what you normally do, or?
I just do what I normally do, but it's a bugger like that, man. It always does it. Notifications shit.
Yeah, either 7:30 or 8 o'clock on Tuesday. We'll confirm as we get closer, Brian. So it should be all good.
Harry says King to come back early this week. Mark my words. Well, I hope you're right, Harry. But I will say Sam Hughes getting better every minute he plays, and so is Leo Thompson.
Yeah.
But we missed that threat to offload. So hopefully we'll see a bit more of that. All right, guys, time to go. Thanks. We didn't review as much as we wanted to. But
it's all right, guys. Every one of you is feeling better.
He's the king.
Every one of you is feeling better, guys. Everyone
See you Tuesday.
Have a good week, guys. Dirty Harry, always a pleasure, mate.
Mr. Incredible, you're in the draw for our, which we'll talk about Tuesday. You're in the draw, brother.
Tuesday,
2 tickets. We're $5 there on our next draw.
Yep.
See you all. Thanks, everybody.
See you all. Alaikum
Beautiful
salam. See you
night.
later, guys. Take care, guys. Go the doggies.
Night, Aki. Get some sleep, brother.
An extra day tomorrow, guys. Anzac Day. If you're in Sydney or Queensland, you get an extra public holiday. Enjoy it Monday for those not working.
Oh, we don't.
You don't get it?
Nah.
Tough. It's all
I've got to go to
You get it
work in a
somewhere
few
else.
hours.
You get it somewhere else, mate. It's all right. We'll be thinking of you.
Night, everyone. Go the Dogs.
Lost in darkness, the Bulldogs lost their way.